What is a galaxy brain?
You take it piss.
I'm not. This is actual terms.
I need proof of that one after. Discord group.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently, I've got to do a shout out to Sam's foot fetish. He's into feet, and I think he'd be into the feet of this topic of the week, this month. To be honest, sucking those feet,
Them alien feet.
Yeah, that's it. Right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of the Decade Parade. I'm Liam,
And I'm Tim.
And for all you listening for the first time, this is just a podcast revolving around looking back at video games that was released 10 whole years ago, or as we like to refer to it, as a decade.
Really?
like we're the only ones who...
Is that what that is?
What, a decade?
Yeah.
What?
I'm taking a piss.
Oh, you.
First head of confusion, like, is he...
I was like, are you fucking with me right now? We've been doing this podcast for a whole year. As I was saying, sorry, we look at video games that were released around about this month 10 years ago, and we just play it, review it, and compare it to the modern day standards, see if it's any better and if it's worth revisiting, etc., etc. But before we go any further, we'd just like to give a quick mention to ourselves again. If you do like the podcast, then by all means,
just follow us on.
Just follow us. Look us up on Facebook. Just search the Decade Parade. It'll be the first one you see with our nice new fancy red and black logo, courtesy of the guy who does everything here, Tim.
Yeah, everything that's behind the scenes when it comes to research for the actual podcast. Yeah, I do very little.
But yeah, or follow us on Twitter, which is in Tim's domain. So where can you do that, Tim?
At the Decade Parade. That's it. Everything's just the same, innit? You just search it, you'll find it.
Yeah, and also, if you do have any thoughts and opinions on the podcast, do send your constructed emails to us. I was going to say thoughts and opinions again, but I've already said that. To, what's our email address again?
thedecadeparade@gmail.com.
That's the fella. So yeah, now that's out of the way. As usual, we're just going to start the podcast out nice and easy, just talking about our day-to-day lives, what we've been up to.
Before we get to that, actually.
Oh, shit, yeah.
We've got some news.
Oh, yeah.
Someone has been listening back called Matt, and he's re-downloaded Batman because of a Batman episode.
Is this Matt someone we know?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was some stranger. I would have felt better if it was just some random stranger.
No, unfortunately, someone we know. But then I thought, can we now officially call ourselves influencers?
No, we definitely cannot.
We influence someone to revisit.
I fucking hate the word influencers. No, if anything, we're just very persuasive people.
Right, okay, that's fine then. Oh, yeah, I'll take that. Right, I put at the top of the page there, influencer steps. Just
for fuck's sake.
I'm going to put that in the bio now on Twitter.
Influencers. Video game influencers. Good God, no, please don't.
Yeah, so anyway, moving on.
Yeah, as we were saying, we just like to, for fuck's sake, influencers. Yeah, we're just gonna quick chit chat about what we've been up to. So, Tim, how you feeling?
Fantastic.
We don't care about how you feel, Tim. We're here to talk about video games.
Okay.
I'm joking. How are you, Tim?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, what have you been playing? You go first. I've got too many things to talk about.
I completed Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good. Again, it's just the ideal amount of time for a video game. Is for like the price. It'll take you 2 hours tops just to do it. It's literally a game you can probably play from start to finish in one go, and you think like, yeah, it was a good little experience. That it's good. It starts off pretty easy. As I've explained, it's some kind of like rhythm based. What did we say for it last time? Like a Sonic-esque like temple runner kind of game. Yeah. It starts off pretty easy. Like it's pretty simple. It just teaches you this and that. But that's why I blazed through some of the levels like quite quickly. So I thought, it's not going to take me any time at all this. But once it gets to about halfway, that's when it starts throwing like all kinds of crazy stuff at you that really gets the difficulty up. That's when I discovered that the video game actually had a feature where if you die too many times on a certain bit, it throws a screen at you. It says like, oh, do you want to skip this bit?
Oh,
so it gives you three options. Yes, I will skip it. No, and never ask me again option. So I felt so offended I actually clicked the never ask me again bit.
At least it says that.
And at least it gives you the option. I know.
I mean, it just keeps saying, "Oh, do you want to drop the difficulty?"
The earliest example of that I can remember was the very first Devil May Cry game. I remember dying a lot. I was just playing normal mode, and I remember dying a lot of times on the boss mode, this certain boss, and it was like, "Oh, I see you died a lot. Do you want to bump it down to easy mode?" No. I'm like, "I've never seen that before." But yeah, it's good. I highly recommend it. It's just a nice little small package of a game it definitely has a lot more high points than its low points, so I highly recommend it.
Good.
What else have I been doing? Game-wise, I told you about that point-and-click game. I started playing that, The Unavowed. I told you. Did you look into it?
No.
No, it's really good. It's a game called Unavowed. One day I just fancied like a game that had like a good story, because I'd only really been playing games recently that have just been more about like the gameplay and stuff like that. Yeah. So if I just want a good story, so I'm looking up online on like lists and stuff, like what games have got the best stories, and it gives you the usual stuff, Last of Us, Mass Effect, The Witcher 3, Torment, etc., etc. Well, then I remember looking at on a forum, on the GOG forum, like someone had put like recommend me games with good stories, and someone said The Unavowed. I thought, I never heard that before. What's that? Checked it out. Nice little point and click game. It was actually on sale on Steam. I think it was only about about £12 or something like that. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. It's really good. Like, it's kind of like a point and click, like kind of like supernatural, like detective investigation kind of thing. It's all like fully voice acted. Like it's got like nice like pixelated graphics, like character design and stuff like that. Like, and the best part of the game is like just like how the characters interact with each other, because you've always got like at least two characters following you, each with like their own skills that help you solve like the puzzles and stuff like that. And it's just listening to like the banter between them, like as you're trying to figure it out. Like there was many times where I actually just stopped moving just so I could, like, before I proceed on to the next area, so I just could listen to him talk. And it's something like they could start off saying something like so mundane, like one of the characters mentioned like this other guy's like messing about with one of the buttons on his coat, and you think it's something so simple, but it ends up going into like this whole conversation about like how this guy like likes being in control and stuff like that, and he does it like when it's like, again, it's like a bit of character building just in this little like on the side like conversation. So it's good. Like, and the puzzles, while easy, are quite they're a bit like half and half. They're not too easy, but they're not too difficult. But again, I'm still in like the early levels of the game. But
I think that's what I always like about what I've always loved about point and click games, because it's quite basic, obviously, in terms of gameplay. Like, the characters have got to be really, every single character's got to be memorable. Yeah,
it has to be like the writing, the characters and the setting, even like just look at like Monkey Island and Grim Fandango. It's basic gameplay, but even really like memorable
Broken Sword and stuff like that. It's just, any of them, just the characters. I can think of more characters from when I've played them as a child than something I played like a year or so ago. Just like random side characters here and there. That's it really.
But yeah, I've not got too far into it, but I am going to stick with it. I am really enjoying it, and I do recommend you, being the massive fan that you are, check it out. I think it's on GOG as well. But yeah, what I have been doing the most this month is I've actually started getting back into fighting games. So much,
as in like Street Fighter.
Kind of fighting games. Yeah, so much in fact that I actually bought an arcade stick.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're talking high level play here. I've only ever played fighting games with a controller.
Yeah.
Like fucking trying to use a D-pad to pull off some stuff in fighting games.
What kind of fights? Like a proper expensive one, or just like?
No, it's very I didn't want to buy a proper mad expensive one, because in case I didn't stick with it. But I started off like a basic level one. But even the basic level ones are about £60. But you could find some that are in like the hundreds, like easy. Yeah. And then you got like all the customizable parts. It's like, oh Jesus. But yeah, the only fighting game I'm sticking to with at the moment is that Dragon Ball Fighters. Like, it's very similar to like, because I love the Dragon Ball series. It's what I grew up on, and it's very like Marvel versus Capcom style of fighting as well. You got like your three characters that you can do like your assists and everything, blah 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 blah. But yeah, so I'm just like trying to get properly into like fighting games. It's overwhelming. Like, you've got to learn all these terms and like combinations and stuff like that. It's like, Jesus. I've been reading lists about like how you should start like trying to get into games like that. It just tells you stuff like, if there's a campaign, try and go through it. You'll learn all the basics and stuff like that. Before you jump online, just go up against like the AI and stuff like that, set on like the highest difficulty.
Yeah.
Like if you can at least beat them, like at least with moderate succession, then you're probably ready for it online. But then that's only the tip of the iceberg. It's like all these freaking terms and stuff like that. Oh God, I've not told you. I bought the fight stick, the arcade stick from Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to get delivered, and my girlfriend Charlotte, she's expecting a delivery as well. And then I did it for like a late night delivery, so it was getting pretty late. She said to me like, "Oh yeah, I've got this delivery coming, so keep your ear out." And I just said to her, "Oh yeah, I've got a delivery coming as well." And my girlfriend, not knowing much about video games, I thought, should I just say it's a fight stick and see if she can figure out what it is? So she said, she goes, "Oh, what is it?" So I look at her like dead in the eye. I go, "It's a fight stick." And she's looking at me and she goes, "What?" I go, "It's a fight stick." And there's a bit of silence for ages. She goes, "Is that a sex thing?" I go, "What?" What? I was like, "What kind of sex thing do you think about with fight, the term fight in it?" I said, "No, it's an arcade stick." And she goes, "Oh, all right, okay." But yeah, But yeah, oh gee, but yeah, I'm reading up on like the fighting terms, like what means what, and I remember finding one. It was literally about at least like 150 different fighting terms, which I've got a few memorized, and I want to play a little game where I ask you what you think they mean, and see if you can figure it out. I start off pretty easy, and then we'll see.
All right.
So yeah, we're gonna play a little game.
So I've got to figure out what.
So just based off the name, you gotta try and think what it could mean
in terms of the move that you do, or
well, in terms of like what the term means, like it's,
right,
like if you think like combo, that means like a string of attacks, kind of. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna play a little game of what the fuck does that mean? So first question for 10 bananas.
Okay. Is that it?
First question: B&B, otherwise known as bread and butter.
Like your basic controls.
Close. It's a basic
set of moves.
Yeah, close. Yeah. A basic combo. It's basically like the go-to combo you use in a fight. Right, that's like the one that you've memorized. Yeah, you're not too bad. Yeah. You got your bananas. Yeah. Question 2 for 3 empty bags of crisp. Right. Neutral.
Just fuck. I don't know, just nothing, just stood there, just like blocking or something. I don't know.
It's close. It's the neutral refers to the moment when neither player has like the advantages, like the other one's not got the other one in a combo or in the blocking stance. It's like the neutral state where each character's trying to figure out what they're going to do next, kind of thing.
Right, so kind of like just like
it's like the strategizing kind of thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? You've got to think about what they do next.
Right. Okay.
So close.
Do we even need a term for that?
Yeah, apparently so. Okay, we're going to get a bit harder now. Question 3 for 10 packs of cheese.
I like it. They're all food-based so far. Go on.
Question 3. A fuzzy.
Oh, fucking hell. So many things. A fuzzy. Oh, fuck. No idea. I can't even think.
It's when you're constantly changing back and forth between a low guard and a high guard. So the motion of quickly going back and forth is like lightning quick, so it looks like a fuzzy. They could actually call it a fuzzy guard, but I left off the guard bit just to make it a bit harder for you.
It would have confused me more, to be honest.
I know. But yeah, I say just constantly changing back and forth between your different high stances of guard, basically. But I remember reading like a fuzzy. Like, what the fuck's a fuzzy? Okay, next one. I got 2 more for you. So next one for 2 can openers. A tech attack.
A tech attack.
Yeah.
A technical attack.
Close. It's like your super moves.
All right.
So like,
just say super. Fuck me.
I know, but it's fighters. They like to just go like they like to shot.
And this is why no one gets in deep into these things.
I know there is so much.
There's a name for that, and they've just made a new name just for the fuck of it. Just call it.
Just so they can say it quicker.
Just call it your power move, your super move,
your
whatever it's called in that game. That's it. Your fucking finisher. You've whatever. Just call it that. I bet there's a different name for finisher in there in like Mortal Kombat. Your fatalities or something in Mortal Kombat.
There probably is.
Kombat.
I've only really looked into this Dragon Ball game, but I'm not really looked up it. Last one. I think this one just applies to this game that I've been playing because when I searched the media for it, I've only seen references to this game, so it might not be that obvious when you hear it. But for the final question for your grand prize of 2 tambourines, here we go. What is a galaxy brain?
You take it piss.
I'm not. This is actual terms.
I need proof of that one after. I'm not having it. Is it where you punch someone's head off so much that it flies off into the
galaxy? That could be quite a cool Mortal Kombat thing, that actually.
Yeah.
No, it's actually not. It's actually in reference to the meme, the galaxy brain. Do you remember where it's like it's got like a list of like different things, like it starts off dead small and it gets bigger and bigger and more stupid. It's like pictures of like a normal brain, and by the time we get to the end, it's like that human in like with like the full galaxy inside.
Right, okay.
It's basically in reference to when someone's playing a match that's like pretty high with like a pretty high level opponent, but they're doing things that makes it look like they're just fucking mashing buttons. Like, so they're in like high level play, but they're doing things that make them look like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I think the best example of it was, but there's a difference between just mashing buttons, because if you're just mashing buttons, it's obvious, like, because none of the shit lands. But this galaxy brain thing, they're doing stupid shit, but it lands.
Why do you need a term for that?
I don't know. Because it's funny. I don't know. The best example I've seen of this is I watched a video. And it was of this like really like high ranking player in that game. Like we're talking like top 10.
Yeah.
And they call him a galaxy brain because if you watch his matches, he just does things that makes him look like he doesn't have a fucking clue what he's doing. But he's like the top one in the top 10, so he obviously does. But the way he's doing it is completely outside of the box of like what the majority of players will be doing at that level. I think the best comment that I've seen on that video that sums it up completely is so since it doesn't look like they know what they're doing, it makes them unpredictable. So you can't accurately predict, which is what like the big part of fighting games is, like predicting what they're going to do next. I think the best comment I've seen that sums it all up. It says like someone put a comment going, "Your opponent can't predict what you're going to do next if you yourself don't know what you're even doing."
That's a good strategy. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that.
No, if it works, it works.
It
can't be called stupid for it. But yeah, that's my fighting experience that I've been dealing with for the last few weeks.
I think we should have that as a weekly game, a monthly game, not a weekly game.
What?
Just you come in with 5 terms.
Fight. Yeah. I can play another game. What the fuck does that mean?
Right, there you go. That's it. We've officially got a podcast game.
A little podcast game. You can join in at home, folks, if you would like to send us in some fighting game terms.
Yeah.
Or even some terms for like other games, like strategy games or whatever.
Yes, just stupid community made up
terms that you'd have. That if you just read it, you'd have no idea what it meant.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That that is a fucking banger of a game. That.
Yeah. What have I been watching? I watched that Uncut Gems on.
Oh yeah,
it's good. I enjoyed it. Like
it's on my list.
I do like Adam Sandler. Like he's always been like middle of the road for me. Like his earliest 90s stuff was.
I love Billy Madison. I love,
yeah. Like Waterboy stuff like that. Yeah. Like I say, they weren't great films, but they were funny. But like some of his later stuff, like Jack and Jill and stuff like that.
Yeah, those ones are not
straight up bollocks. But this, it's like. It's funny, but in like a dark comedy, like serious kind of way.
I think the problem with like Billy Madison and all the early ones that he did, it was pretty much just him free reign doing whatever he wanted. Then obviously he got big from them, and then I think it was probably a lot of corporate fingers saying, "Oh, you do this, do that" to try and make it more mainstream and stuff. And then it just him trying to do his comedy while trying to make it mainstream as well. I just don't think it come off.
No,
it didn't come off well at all. So I think that was the main problem.
But yeah, it's a good movie. I highly recommend it. Like he really is at like the top of his game in this, Adam Sandler. Yeah. I think he suits these like more serious roles and comedy stuff because he is really good.
It's on my list. I do want to watch it.
That's it for me. I've chatted on long enough now. So, Tim, tell me about your February.
Well, I got a Steady controller.
Oh yeah, you got a pre-owned one, didn't you?
Yeah. So even though I've had Stadia, I've not really used it, but now I can actually use it. It's fucking great, man.
What have you played on it?
A bit of Metro Exodus.
That's finally on Steam now. It's off the Epic Store now.
Yeah. But that runs full 4K HDR and everything. It looks fucking unreal, man.
Did you buy Exodus?
No, it was on the Pro.
Oh, okay.
On the Pro subscription for this month, so I got that for nothing. I've been playing that Guilt, which is exclusive on Stadia.
All right, did we give you free games in the Pro bit? All right. Do you get to keep it, or is it just like for that month?
It's same as PS Plus, so as long as you keep the Pro subscription, you've got
all right, that's cool.
Two games a month, so it's like I've not spent a penny on it yet, apart from buying the controller.
Totally, yeah.
And I've got is it 6-8 games or something?
Is it like with PlayStation where it's like one really well-known game and then like a sort of game that you never really heard of?
This month's been really good because obviously you've got the actual exclusive of Guilt, and then you've got Metro Exodus, which is one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Some months have been a bit naff, but the library's just shit at the minute. It's not the most expensive library, so they're limited on what they can actually offer. But fucking honestly, just being able to just take the controller, walk upstairs, straight onto the TV in the bedroom.
Well, that's it. That's the beauty of Stadia. It's right from the get-go.
It doesn't get old. Like, I'm playing it and I'm thinking, this is just like directly streamed, and obviously GeForce and everything out is now and whatever. I still think Stadia's got a lot of problems in terms of being too Google.
Is GeForce that Shield thing? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, yeah, it's on that, but it's NVIDIA. It's NVIDIA's streaming service.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But you can link it. Well, you can pull games from Steam and stuff like that. So not everything. Some things that you own on Steam will just automatically play on that for free.
Right.
But it's limited to 1080. Blah blah blah. Same as xCloud with Microsoft and whatnot. You can only really play that on mobile or whatever. I'm not sure what else at the minute. And everyone's like, "Oh, they're miles better." You get a library of games with the Microsoft one, xCloud. You get a library of games from Steam that you already own on GeForce Now.
Mm.
But the selling point for me with streaming is the fact that I can play it anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
And I don't want to play on my phone, which every now and then I probably would, if depending on what game.
I say the options are at least.
Yeah, but I don't want to. That's not. I want to be able to just walk upstairs, cast it to any TV that I want through a Chromecast, and I'm done.
Let's say your laptop as well, your PC, etc.
Yeah. So for me, it's just that's what I want, and that's the only one that's offering that is Stadia.
Mm.
I'm not going to buy shitloads of games on it just yet. I'm going to wait.
No, yeah, let them bump the library up a bit and sort the problems out.
But even if it fucking fails, that controller is perfect.
What, like how it's designed?
Oh man, it's so comfy.
Oh, is it?
Oh, nice. It's fucking amazing.
What, better than PlayStation's controller?
Better than any controller I've ever felt.
Damn.
It's fucking perfect. My only problem with it is the buttons are a bit
like loose.
They're a bit clicky.
What do you mean?
They click.
All right, so you press it like a kind of thing.
Yeah, not like really bad.
Yeah, no,
but like in terms of like PlayStation, where it feels spongy and you can like brush it over the. That's my only problem with it. But honestly, the actual design of it's spot on.
Where did you get it from? This pre-owned Stadia thing?
It was on Facebook Marketplace.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, £70 it was. So yeah, for a Chromecast Ultra and the controller, which Chromecast Ultra on its own is about 70, 80 quid or whatever it is. So I thought, okay, I'll take it.
I think I'm still going to wait until the actual like thingy version comes out. The thingy version,
course,
like the 90 quid version or whatever it was.
Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, the Guilt game though that's exclusive is brilliant.
Guilt.
It's called Guilt. Yeah, it's from Tequila Works.
Who's that?
They made you know who it is. I can't think off the top of my head now, but they've made some brilliant games. They made Rhyme, The Sexy Brutale, Deadlight.
Not that one.
Yeah, you'll know. They've made some big games, some good games, and it's brilliant, really, really good. You like this schoolgirl that's going around like this haunted.
I like it already.
Like little girl that's going through this haunted school and stuff with her, and the even though it's kind of like childish design like Kitty, but it's quite creepy actually. The monsters in it. Been playing a bit of Dreams this past few days.
Do tell me about that.
Only played a couple of hours, but it's fucking incredible.
Like I was saying to you before, I've heard nothing but really good things, like from like reviewers and the community as well.
Obviously, I was on the beta, so all I'd played of it before was stuff that people had made, because that's what the Media Molecule didn't put any of the proper stuff on.
Yeah.
But then this has got the proper story kind of thing that they've done, and it's like just the next level of thinking, fuck, like they've made this with all the tools that essentially I've got. How? because it goes from like different. It's kind of like this guy's narrating it, and he's talking about like this dream that he's had, and kind of it's weird. It kind of flips and flops between stuff, but he's like a musician or something in his band, and then he's playing with these dolls and stuff like that. But then you control these dolls, and it's like a third person platformer, and then it kind of flips to him walking around, and then it's kind of like a point and click. But then you speak to people, and then you've got multiple choice options and stuff. It's like flicking between all these genres and stuff like that. And it's literally them showing you everything that you could possibly do, like from cinematics to it's really honestly all you're just doing when you're playing it is thinking, fuck, like how have they made this?
Yeah.
And granted, yeah, I've got all the same tools, but this is also a game development company that's got the chops of how many years and Little Big Planet behind them. And there's probably about, I think this stuff about, 50 odd people, over 50 people, something like that.
About, yeah.
And they've probably all been working on it. So them doing that and then me, you know, I mean, they've been working on it for 10 years or something now?
Yeah, something definitely. Ridiculous. You probably see why with the final result.
So yeah, I don't think you're going to ever really get anything that level.
But then again, I've seen
soon.
I've seen some really good, like, creative, like, things made in like Little Big Planet from like the community. Yeah, so I can imagine they do the same in this.
Well, I played one, someone that had made just a random one. I was flicking through, and then it was like it said survival something or other. I survive or something like that. And then it come up straight away and just some dialogue on the screen. It said this is like prototype demo,
right, yeah.
Just to show you what's coming, what we're working on. And you come out of this cave and you've got this big axe, and I was like, fuck, this looks better than Skyrim. Like everything you see in Dreams where it's all like fluffy and a bit weird art style.
Yeah.
They've made this look crisp as anything. It's like, how have they done that? And then you start building, it's literally like a Minecraft style game. You start building foundations and a campfire and stuff like that.
It's like a survival kind of
game.
Yeah,
you press the middle touchpad and like a menu comes up of your craft menu and stuff. And I'm like, where do you even start?
So it is like a game inside a game. It really is.
So the best way to describe it, I saw on Twitter someone say, people keep talking about like the Netflix of games, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah,
Dreams is the YouTube of games. Honestly, it's that expansive.
No, yeah, I can see it.
That's it. That's exactly it. It's so unreal. And then you just get some random ones where, so it was one called the most boring game. So I went, well, you have to click on it. So I went in and it was literally just somebody had made a box with a button in. So I hit the button and then it just did like a little countdown. And then that was it. Then you just hit it again. It did another countdown. And I went, oh. And then there was like a door that there was nothing through it. I walked through and then it was the end. And I was like, fantastic.
I don't know what you expected from the game called the most boring game ever.
Yeah, I know. But I give them a like. It was funny.
Hey, they did what they set out to do.
Apart from that, I've started playing properly Link's Awakening.
Which one's that now? Is that the new one they released on Switch, right?
Yeah, remaster. I've never played that before, and I thought, I fancy something like that. Just the easy kind of chill, just roaming about. I've only started playing it properly this morning, to be honest.
How long have you actually had it?
A while.
I can't laugh. I do the exact same.
Yeah.
Buy games, play it for like an hour tops, and then never touch it again for ages.
Yeah. Apart from that, what I've watched, I've been watching a few of the Studio Ghibli films that have come onto.
Which ones have you watched? I haven't actually got around to watching any yet.
Well, I've only ever seen 2 before.
Right.
So we're kind of going through them. I've watched Kiki's Delivery Service.
Good one.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one quite a bit. The first one we watched was My Neighbor Totoro.
That's brilliant, that.
Yeah. At first I was like, because I've never really watched anime or anything like that, it's quite fucking... It's out there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like, just the way, just like how it's the style, yeah.
But like ages ago, I watched half of like Spirited Away, so I knew kind of like, I know it's going to be just fucked up. So in comparison, these have been quite tame. But My Neighbor Totoro, where like the first half of it's like quite normal, apart from like those dust bug things, or whatever it is. It's all fairly normal. It's just 2 girls playing around and blah blah blah, whatever. And then all of a sudden, this fucking cat buzz fucking comes out, and I'm like.
It's like, here we go. This is what I was waiting for.
And I was like, this is Alice in Wonderland. And I know I was going to piss so many people off.
I can hear the teeth gritting now.
No, but then I looked into it and apparently it's some Japanese folklore of a shape-shifting cat or something like that. I was like, all right, yeah, it's cool. But I really enjoyed it. Then we watched Spirited Away on Friday night as well. We actually watched it all the way through. Oh man, I love that film so much.
It is really good.
I loved it the first half I watched, but Kirsty's always been like, whatever. But I thought I need to watch it all, so watched all that. Brilliant. I feel like we watched another one, but I can't remember it. No, I don't think we did. So yeah, we're just working through them. Going to try and get them all finished before the next lot comes on Netflix, and then get through them.
When's the next lot coming on?
The 1st, and then the 1st of March. 1st of March, and then the 1st of April. 7 each time.
Each time. Didn't realise there was so many.
Yeah. And it finished The Good Place as well. Have you seen it?
Yes, I finally ended it finally. What did you think of the ending without spoiling it? Was it satisfying for you?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of ways they could end it.
Yeah.
I think with the way they went.
I enjoyed it to the point, though, where I was just like, I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes like, oh man, what do you think of that ending? Oh, it's real, blah, blah. It was just like ended, and then I was like, I literally didn't speak about it. I'm like, I'm done. That's fine. That's
yeah. It doesn't need to reopen it anymore.
I'm not disappointed. I'm not. But yeah,
it honestly did feel like everything got wrapped up nicely. It probably wasn't the end that a lot of people were hoping for, considering what happened. And but it was a happy ending, wasn't it? In a way, but I think people were expecting kind of like your more stereotypical. You know, they were all. Still
I think it's because it's like every single episode, it's like they're working towards something.
Yeah,
they figure it out. And then something else happens, and it's kind of like that Mr. Bean type, fucking constant disaster type thing. So then for the end to be all right, you know what, they figured it out. Good job. That's it.
Well, they did though. They got what they wanted, and then they were given something that they had to do that came from a problem from this and that. But yeah, it was good. I felt like it was all wrapped up nicely, and I was satisfied. I was the same as you. Like, I didn't really feel the need to start going like, "Oh, but what about this? But what about that?" I just was just like, "Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's fine." Yeah,
like you say, I didn't feel like I needed to analyze anything. It was, just,
but I wasn't like on the verge of like, "Oh, that was the best ending ever." I'm like middle of the road. It was,
but I think that makes it one of the best endings I've seen in probably a long time, because I don't need to say anything.
No, that's it. It just means it's been resolved completely.
I think it's perfectly wrapped up what it was. So
that's it. Every problem in that show had been sorted. It's like everything that had been building up had been, resolved and sorted out. So there's like as we said, there's no need to talk about it anymore. So that's why we're going to start talking about Good Place right now.
Yeah, I didn't know you watched it actually.
Yeah. I admittedly, I only started watching it because Charlotte, when I met her, she watched the first season. She said, "Oh, you need to watch this. It's good." Because when I started watching it was only just the first season.
I still think that first season was one of the best.
Oh yeah, the twist at the end was brilliant. I know.
It's one of the best TV series. I just don't think they could have ever lived up to that first twist and everything after that. I think that was its main problem. It was. I
did like the twist at the end. Like, I can't really say it to you.
No,
you know. I'm hoping you know which one I mean.
Yeah. The guy who wrote, I think, did he write it or something like that? He worked on The Office.
I don't know.
US.
I've not really looked like behind the scenes kind of.
The guy, the main guy who's done it, he's worked on a load of like these big. There was another one as well. Parks and Rec.
Oh, nice.
He wrote that and some others, some of the really big ones. I'm thinking, this guy. So I'm watching this guy now to see what he's doing, because apparently he's penning in another series of something. I'm like, well, everything he's done that I know of has been fucking brilliant. So, obviously he didn't write The Office, but he worked on it, I think, the US one. So yeah, Schitt's Creek. Did you watch Schitt's Creek as well?
Is that the one with the dad from American Pie in it?
I think so, yeah.
I've watched the first. It's about like a rich family going to like. Yeah, I've watched the first episode. I watched the first episode, but when they all go into that motel and it's like freaking falling apart.
Watch it. It's fucking brilliant.
I don't know. I watched the first episode. I was like, I enjoyed it. It was funny, but I didn't feel the need to carry on with it.
No, trust me. Yeah, trust
me.
I'm
gonna try and stick with it.
It's one of the best I've seen.
I've got so many people telling me to watch stuff. I got you telling me to watch that. I got my dad telling me to watch Sons of Anarchy. I've got Charlotte's trying to make me watch stuff. Is that it's like I just want to watch anime.
I mean, Schitt's Creek's another. It's just 20 minutes, 30 minutes of just comedy type thing. So it's one of those you just stick on, but it's brilliant. It's the last season's coming this year, so then that's done as well. So maybe just wait for that and then just binge the whole thing. But I think it's one of the best, and it's so overlooked.
Is it? Yeah, I very rarely. if I didn't see it on Netflix. If I didn't have Netflix, I probably would not know about that at all.
I can't remember where I found it, actually. I don't think it was through Netflix. I'm sure it was something else, but yeah, we just started. Well, the dad in it, it's actually his son in it, and his son in the thing is
his son in real life. I don't know, I didn't know that.
And he writes the show.
The son does?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
He's the one that actually writes it and everything like that, so yeah, anyway.
Yeah, moving on. I feel like we've been chatting on for a while now. Yeah, moving on. What we normally do at this point is we do look back at a list of games that also came out this time 10 years ago, but we didn't choose to cover for this episode. And then we just talk about it, give you our little thoughts and opinions if we do know anything about it, and just talk about why we didn't pick it, really.
Yep.
So yeah, Tim, would you like to start us off?
Yes, on February the 2nd, we have White Knight Chronicles on the PS3.
I do remember it's like a JRPG kind of. Yeah. It's very Final Fantasy-esque. It basically revolves around like you're this guy and you can summon this like massive like suit of armor, which is called the White Knight. And it's like you got your basic like JRPG gameplay. Then when you summon that suit, it basically turns into like picture Final Fantasy, but like a fucking grander scale like of like attacks and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty underwhelming. It actually had a sequel, which surprised a lot of people because people thought that White Knight Chronicles wasn't that good. Yeah. So when it gets something like a sequel, it's like you probably could have thrown your resources to something better than that. But yeah, it was okay. It was all right. Same day, February 2nd, Stalker, the Call of Pripyat. Was that the first one? Or was it the expansion?
No,
was it the first one?
I think it's the first one. Did you play this?
Yes, only after I heavily modded it.
Right.
To make it better, because I'd heard a lot of people complain about like the PC version was a bit janky even like years later after its release.
I think I played it, but just in its normal state, and I couldn't get past like 15 minutes. It was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
It's good though. It's basically like Fallout, isn't it? Like Fallout Metro style kind of thing.
And like
set in Russia, like after the Chernobyl disaster.
Isn't it quite like realistic in terms of survival?
It is, yeah. Like, but I think like with these mods and stuff, you added more realism and stuff like so you could have like a first, like you could get like thirsty and hungry and stuff like that.
It was bad enough as it was, from what I might be remembering it wrong, but
that's what I mean. That's why you needed all these mods just to make it a bit more like ease of life kind of thing.
Right.
But it is good. Like there is some like genuinely creepy moments in Stalker that I remember seeing people talk about. It's mainly like these certain creatures. I think you only find them in like the sewers. But I just remember watching a video. It's like they'd be there, and then all of a sudden they'd be like freaking behind you, like out of nowhere. And it's just like, oh Jesus Christ, no. But yeah, it's good. I've never actually fully completed a Stalker game because I've been more of a Fallout kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever.
And Metro.
Anyway, February the 8th, Star Ocean, The Last Hope International.
Didn't we mention a Star Ocean game on one of these lists?
I mean, isn't there like a Star Ocean game every like 3 months?
No, it's usually remasters, to be fair, especially these days.
I feel like I constantly see them and I've no idea what they are.
It's Star Ocean. It's basically just think Final Fantasy but in space.
Right.
That's all I can say. I've never played a Star Ocean game before.
Everything's always it's just fine. If it's any kind of JRPG, it's just Final Fantasy. But
that's basically it. If you think turn-based JRPG, you think Final Fantasy.
Like there was no other JRPG before Final Fantasy.
That, I know, bloody hell, there was like what was the Chrono Trigger stuff Chrono like Trigger that. Before, yeah.
Anyway.
Big one, February 9th, for Bioshock 2 for Windows 360 and PS3. Ooh, baby.
I wanted to do this month, I'm not going to lie.
I did as well. I feel like Bioshock 2 was the safe bet. But we both played it, haven't we? So
yeah, but I wanted to play it mainly because I've always said it's my favourite out of the whole series.
It's definitely the best out of for gameplay reasons, yeah.
And that's why I wanted to play it, just to make sure that what I'm saying isn't bullshit. Just so I can go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, still, that is an absolute banger.
And it was a free game on PS Plus this month as well.
Yes, it was, yeah.
The collection.
That's why I wanted to do it as well. I thought, that'll boost our numbers. Everyone's talking about Bioshock at the minute.
Yep.
Do you know what that means, though?
Go on.
Because they've given away the free ones. E3's around the corner. There's a lot of rumours about a new Bioshock in development. That's all I'll say.
I don't know. I was pretty disappointed with Infinite.
I fucking hate Infinite.
There you go then. So why are we getting excited?
Yeah, no, but it's not going to be in that world, is it? No, it's going to be a new world.
You never know.
Hopefully make it in space and make it like 1 and 2.
Don't put it in space because it'll basically be System Shock then. And Bioshock was a spiritual successor to System Shock.
Can't go back to Rapture, can they?
well, they fucking
do like a Fallout vault.
They did
system
Bioshock
underground. It can't just be on Earth, can it? It can't just be they've done underwater, they've done floating skies, they've done.
Just do it on land. They've conquered the ocean, they've conquered the skies, they've conquered the
yeah,
land.
No, but the whole
they can't put it in space.
Yeah,
It'll just be system shock.
The whole point of them going underwater and into the sky is to get away from the land because it was fucked.
Or if we're gonna say because it's fought, do it after like you just said, like Fallout, like after pre-nuclear war kind of thing.
All right, well, we don't know. We're not fucking.
Then again, we're
so.
not nowhere near creative enough to come up with something like Bioshock. Christ.
But yeah, I did want to play that. I might go back and play it.
Yeah, I enjoyed Bioshock 2 a lot because I felt like it built on a lot from the first one, like in terms of like making Rapture seem more like a big city, because it felt a bit
corridor.
Like in the first one, it felt very compressed to like the kind of like high tier society of Rapture, like dealing with like Andrew Ryan himself and stuff like that. But
I just think Infinite lost all its creepiness to what I felt Bioshock was.
Oh, Bioshock, the first one was proper creepy.
Oh,
like, the bit I remember the most was when you first meet them, Houdini splices, you know, the ones who can disappear, and you just see him disappearing, and then you go, he's like leading you somewhere. He leads you behind this corner, you see like an upgrade on this bench, you go up to it, pick it up, and then you see like his shadow suddenly materialize behind you in like the light in front of you. Even though it loses all of its scare factor when you turn around and the Houdini goes, "Hello, beautiful," and then it disappears.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But yeah, like I say, Infinite seemed to lose all that.
For me, that introduction into Rapture in the first game is always going to be fucking up there for like introducing like a new world to you. For me, like just going on, like crashing in that plane and then getting in the bathysphere and because you get that little movie playing for you, don't you?
Yeah.
Like explaining what Rapture is. And then just as the screen drops down and you just see Rapture, it's like, wow. Like nothing that has ever come close to like revealing like a world as good as that for me.
No, there's one that's better. The first time I played Fallout 3.
Oh yeah,
when
you first stepped out in the vault.
That for me was that moment where I was like, shit, because I'd never really played.
I know what you mean. That is quite a good one. That
an open world RPG, especially like that. I don't think there was any really like that kind of scale before.
Well, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
See, I'd never played them before that.
Morrowind.
Yeah, I'd never played them really, but yeah, that was that moment.
No, yeah, I can definitely see what you mean, but I still think that Rapture one's better. You fucking what?
Right, next up, Dante's Inferno, the same day.
Did you ever play this?
I feel like I played a demo of it when it came out.
Yeah,
but never played
it was basically God of War, but done into like the settings of like, you know, the poem. Is it Dante's Inferno? Is it called something else? The actual poem?
I've no idea. It's like the greed and
it's the seven, not the 7 circles, the 9 circles of hell. Sorry, but, I'm thinking the 7 deadly sins. Sorry, yeah, it's basically it's based on the poem that goes on about like Dante's wife gets kidnapped by the devil and brought to like the lowest.
Does he kill him or and his kid as well in the process?
No, it doesn't
turn
actually.
His skin white and
it's bollocks because Dante's Inferno starts up as like you're just like a normal human and you're on the verge of death, and fucking death himself comes and somehow as a human you manage to kill death and fucking steal his sight. I don't remember that happening in the poem. But yeah, then you go for like all the circles of hell. So there's like limbo, like I say, lost, greed, wrath, and then you finally get to the last one, which is what's it called? Like traitor, like being a traitor. What's the word called? No, there's a fancy word, but like betrayal kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's where like Judas like was from like the Bible and stuff like that. But that's where the devil is, because like the thing about the devil in that poem is that he used to be an angel originally, didn't he? That was cast down from heaven because he betrayed God, etc., etc. So yeah, you get down to it, you fight him, and you fight the devil, and then but they left it open for a sequel. But as we've seen, this is the only Dante's Inferno game, and it's been 10 years later, and no sign of a sequel.
It's a shame because I remember playing the demo, and it is brilliant.
It is
it is just God of War
in terms of like God of War clones. It's very, very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Like each,
and there's some bad ones.
Like each circle of hell was like really good. Like just each one felt distinct and unique. But then you get like later on, I remember one. I think it's violence. Yeah, the 8th circle. It's basically you get there like between that point. It was always like this big open like world with like platforming and like, you know, boss fights and stuff like that. But then you get to this violence circle. And it's basically one big like combat arena. And that's it. Like waves of enemies come at you, and then that's it. It's like, oh, you can see they kind of like hit a wall with this one a little bit, or like ran out of time or something. But yeah, it was good. I think the sequels were going to be, there's going to be 3 altogether. Like following the path of the poems. I think the first one starts off in hell. Then it goes off into purgatory, which is like the land between heaven and hell. And then finally it goes to heaven. But obviously they never got past hell, did they?
No, it's a shame.
But yeah, it was good. It wasn't great, but it was worth a playthrough. I'll let you talk about this next one because I feel like this is all you, this one.
Yeah, February 16th, so come US Navy SEALs via Team Bravo 3.
That's a mouthful. I would just call that SOCOM US 3.
Yeah. That was on the PSP. I have no actual recollection of this, but I put it on the list just because...
You do like SOCOM.
It's a SOCOM game.
Yeah, I'll let you
and I feel like if we're uploading this to the internet and some algorithm somewhere figures out that we're talking about SOCOM, someone somewhere will go, oh shit, someone's talking about SOCOM. Maybe people are interested in a new SOCOM.
I'm curious.
Make a new SOCOM.
What are the creators of SOCOM doing these days?
It was Zipper, I think. It was Zipper Interactive.
Never heard of them.
They made Mag.
Yes, they did, yes.
And then they shut down.
Yeah, because Mag was so successful.
I don't know if it was a different team who made SOCOM before them, though. I'm pretty sure it was passed to them.
I'm wondering if this was like a different company just because it was on the PSP.
SOCOM is a blah, 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 blah. It was created by Zipper Interactive.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And then Zipper is now and no more.
What a shame.
Oh, it was passed on to Slant 6 Games, but never heard of them either.
Never heard of them.
And defunct in 2013. So yeah,
There you go.
Neither of them exist anymore. But
so
I imagine PlayStation still own the IP, or Sony still own the IP.
So you're still talking about we need to make a SOCOM game. I think they need to first go like, yeah, we need to actually bring Zipper back first. Get the original team back.
Is it Guerrilla? Yeah, Guerrilla is working on another game other than Horizon. Is he? Fucking bastards.
What if it's Killzone though?
Yeah, but they've taken... I know that's what I said for a while, but is Killzone really that relevant anymore?
Yeah.
I'd fucking love another Killzone, don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore Killzone. I think it gets so much unnecessary shit. Yeah, the first game's crap, but they get so much unnecessary shit. Killzone 2 and Killzone 3.
Still never played the third one. I played every one. I tell a lie. I played everyone but apart from the first one and the third one.
Yeah. I really like them.
I enjoyed that. What's it called? The one that came out for PS4?
Unpopular opinion. I prefer it to Halo.
Ooh, that is quite a step. Like in terms of what, just the gameplay, or I feel like Killzone does take a bit more of like a realistic shooting
and
approach.
That's what I've always liked.
Yeah, I know you like your Rainbow Six and like your stuff like that. So that there's nothing wrong with saying it's better than Halo because that's your thing. You prefer the realism, but I'd have to go in the opposite direction and say Halo's better. Because I prefer the more like Quake style of like moving about dead fast and just like, you know, having your shield soak up all the damage and stuff like that. But again, there's nothing wrong with you thinking that or me thinking that. Opinions, baby, they come in all shapes and forms.
Right, anyway, let's move on. Next, Dynasty Warriors Strike Force. 360, PS3 and PSP.
I do know what Dynasty Warriors is, but I don't think I've ever played like a proper Dynasty Warriors outside of like demos and stuff like that. I can't even think like what kind of genre you sum it up as. It's like because it is like a very unique kind of thing. It's like you're just thrown against like a load of. I mean, you know what Dynasty Warriors is, don't you? Like
I know the name, but I couldn't tell you a thing about it.
It's like you pick your character and you put on the battlefield. There's like a load of. It's kind of in a way it's similar to how. What's that genre of games called? You know, like Dota and stuff like that. What's that genre of games called?
Battle arena type.
Yeah, that you know what I mean. Like there's like minions coming at you, and then there's like other players. It's kind of like that, but like a more like third for not quite. It's not quite like down each like lane kind of thing. But you got minions coming at you. There's like an objective.
Like an RTS.
No, not quite.
StarCraft.
No,
not
like
open.
RTS, but like
more like.
Let's say you got minions coming at you. You kill them, and there's like objectives. Yeah, you have
like
to
a
get
tower
to
defense.
Yeah,
type.
In a way, there's like a lot of stuff you can actually put into this game.
It's too many fucking genres, man. Sub-genres of genres.
But Dynasty Warriors has been going on for like a while now, so it's obviously people like it.
Yeah, we know nothing about it, so move on. Do you want to do this next one?
Oh, yes, please. February 17th, Deadly Premonition for the Xbox 360. This was actually originally the game that we we chose to do for this podcast because me and Tim have a bit of a weird like comedic history with this game when it first came out, purely because it was one of those games that was like so bad that it's good, and we just how did we first hear about it? Oh, it was on 4Player podcast, wasn't it?
Yes.
That we saw what's his name, Brad playing it, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just saw highlights of like all the cutscenes and stuff, and we just like and we just watched it, and me and Tim was just
that's a blast from the past.
Oh no, tell me about it. I don't know what they're doing these days. I know they're still going.
I'm gonna search for them. Yeah.
What was I saying? Sorry. Yeah, and once me and Tim saw it, like the amount of times we just quoted like stuff from that game to each other, like especially that coffee bit. Good God. Oh. But it was never a game that we actually played properly. So we thought, you know what? And how much of like regret did you have when I said like, yeah, we should do permanent?
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it at all. But
yeah, but then we both started playing it, and then we realised like, yeah, we're probably not going to get through this in time because one, it's a long game, but more importantly, two, we both hated it.
I made 3 notes while I was playing this, and
go on, tell me what
I played about 2 hours or so.
Mm.
First note,
go on.
Supersonic Ladybird. Just fucking spice drink.
Go on.
The next one's good. Sad Sax. The third one. I think this was literally just all from like the opening cutscenes. It wasn't even the last one. Squirrels, monkey sounds. Why the fuck did the squirrels making like...
The game was supposed to be weird. That was the whole thing.
No, there's weird, and then it's just like, what are you doing?
But I know after this, I think, what's the developer called? He's called, I think it's like Swervy or something like that.
Doesn't matter.
It does. It's Swervy. It's not like the developer. It's like the name of the guy who designed it.
Oh,
he did go on to make some other games like similar to that, but...
What games?
But he made D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die, for Xbox 360, which unfortunately never got past. It was meant to be like an episodic, like Telltale kind of thing, but unfortunately it never got past its first episode.
Shock horror.
He also made...
I've never even heard of that, so come on, tell me something that he's done that's good.
I just told you.
It's obviously not good because it didn't get past the first episode. It's like doing a pilot for a show and then not getting commissioned. Fuck me.
I enjoyed it though. Like with his games, I feel like it's more about the settings and the story and stuff rather than the gameplay.
Jesus Christ.
No, but you gotta admit, like there is some good points with Deadly Premonition, but not in the way I think that they were intended. Tell me at least one good thing about it, Tim, that you saw. That's not that it was unintentionally funny.
All right, well, that's throwing everything out the window. I was just going to say the best bit was right in the beginning. It's not really spoilers because it's right at the start. The woman that's like nailed to the tree that's like bleeding and everything. And then the 2 kids see her. Well, find her. And then obviously the police, whatever, come in, the other people. They just leave the kids there, just playing in the background. Like just there, right next to this tree. With this dead woman just nailed up with a guts out and everything like that. And they're just playing, having a fucking laugh, playing with rocks and leaves and shit like that, whatever they're doing. And I'm like, is nobody taking these kids away?
There is a reason for that, because I've actually watched a full playthrough of this game.
Oh, of course you have. Go on.
No, I'm not going to tell you because it'll spoil it.
All right. Do I have to watch it? Is there an abridged version where I can just like...
Probably, yeah.
Right.
I'd watch like a full playthrough of it.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Fuck that shit.
No.
But... they did do so good that they're actually making a sequel to Deadly Premonition and Deadly Premonition 2, which I actually am probably going to get.
I fucking hate you so much.
Oh, I know. I get that a lot. So, moving on, sorry. February 23rd. I'll let you talk about this one.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain, yes. Fucking David Cage. Oh.
Let's talk more about dead kids and stuff. Come on.
Let's talk more about fucking drowning kids and stuff like that. Yeah. Go on, Tim. What's Heavy Rain?
It's a quick time event game that's just a film that you react to.
Yeah, it's an interactive story game. That's how I'd sum it up.
It's David Cage. That's it.
The creator of Fahrenheit and Beyond Two Souls.
Banging, man.
It was. Fahrenheit was brilliant.
So good. That needs to be
I'm amazed they've
remastered.
not remastered that yet. Yeah, he made Fahrenheit, Beyond Two Souls, which was... and then Detroit, which is really good, so I've heard.
I've heard Detroit is absolutely incredible.
I thought you played it.
I played about an hour.
I was saying, to be honest. I got to that bit where...
But not... Kirsty was playing it.
Right.
And it's difficult watching sometimes.
I know, because especially when they make the choices that you wouldn't have done, you're like,
Especially in a game like that where you're supposed to react to things that you're walking, like that pops up, I'll react to that and get a bit of story from that. No, she's just like,
straight to it.
Oh, the button prompt there, square pops up. Oh no, I'm not bothered about that. Just fuck off straight to the back door or something. I'm like, just what you're missing everything. Like,
I made Charlotte play Tales from the Borderlands, a Telltale version, and she did exactly the same thing. She kept skipping over so much stuff. It was like, please go and click on that little data pad.
I was watching a YouTube video of it. This guy, really, really good actually. He does stuff. He's been doing like this kind of series where he makes his girlfriend play video game or play a video game.
He makes it.
Well, yeah.
Like, play it. Like, turn the camera off.
But more in the idea of learning, well, how we perceive video game language.
What do you mean?
Like, when we play a game, we know, like, X or whatever is like jump or the analog stick, just push forward. Like, we could play it pretty much, I'd say 90%, 80% of games without a tutorial or anything like that.
I get what you mean, yeah.
But yeah, he put her on this. I think that he did it as a one-off, but then the video's gone massive, so he's doing it as like a series through different games. And I think the last one he did was Zelda.
Right.
And just like seeing what she does, he's not telling her anything at all. And I think Zelda's a brilliant game for that. And he's saying she's doing stuff that he never even, because obviously he's just played games his whole time.
Life, yeah.
There's things in there that he's never even thought of as being like an accessibility feature and stuff. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like certain prompts and stuff that come up on the screen that he's just looked over. But for someone that's never played a video game before,
they would be helpful.
It's kind of like helped in a way that he didn't even think of.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's a really good series actually, because even I was like, so it's kind of like another layer of game design that
you wouldn't normally
we'd never think of, because it's not really
like, I use this term very loosely, but like what pro gamers wouldn't obviously like think about.
So I'll send it you. It's a good series actually.
Look into it.
Anyway.
Last one on the list. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. It's Mario Kart, but in Sonic. I don't care about that. Sonic the movie's out, innit?
It is.
And I've heard.
That's why I think
critics. I think critics hate it, but the community love it.
Yeah.
Which I feel at the end of the day is the main thing.
Which seems to be the pattern for the last 12 months in terms of films. A lot of films, at least.
I feel like the biggest case now is in like terms of like The Witcher as well, because I don't see that getting many like favourable critic reviews, but everyone loves it.
Everyone's like, I really enjoy it. It's got its few issues, but
it just goes to show like critics don't really get, like in like some cases, don't really get like what makes something good. Like when you look at it as like an actual fan, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's like putting someone who doesn't like Metal Gear to review the next Metal Gear.
Exactly, it's like even with game reviews, it's like...
But then what do you do? Because it's like, if you then put like a massive diehard fan of a franchise to review something, it's going to be biased that way then as well.
Yeah, because they'll be basing it off the other ones, I guess. So it's kind of like a double-sided sword, isn't it? Yeah.
End of the day, just watch it yourself.
That's it. Just look at some opinions from people whose opinion you trust, and just base it off that. At the end of the day, it only really matters what you think about it. Really.
I hope it does well though.
So do I. But I've heard it's made like 60 million already. So, in just like the opening weekend. So
they probably spent that just on reanimating Sonic.
Yeah, just redesigning Sonic.
Fucking hell. Anyway,
I've heard it's doing good, and I might actually watch it. Not in cinemas, but when it comes out on like DVD or something.
I'm definitely not that bothered to be seeing that at the cinema.
Why you can wear your little Sonic top again?
I thought I had it on there. I wasn't doing that.
Right, that's February for you. So we are going to move on to the big topic of the podcast, which is... What is it, Tim?
Alien vs. Predator.
Oh, yeah. Not the original version that came out in 1999, but the rebooted version that came out in 2010, of course.
So, disclosure.
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to say it just from the get-go. I have no, like, history.
You don't watch any of the movies?
I've not seen any of the movies. I know of it, and that's it. Is Prometheus kind of based in that
Yeah, Prometheus was kind of like an origin story for like aliens.
I've seen that.
No, you've watched like the fucking. It's not the worst one, but
I enjoyed that film. I quite liked it, but I watched it not really knowing that it was part of that world.
I feel like that was the big twist, like because apart from being made by what's his name? Who made
I can't
Aliens?
remember it, but yeah. Oh, don't what you asking.
It wasn't
me for?
James Cameron, was it?
What are you asking me for?
I don't know. Yeah, but it was made by the same person who made Aliens. So when he made this, I think people thought like, oh yeah, you can see he took some elements from Aliens to make this, but people didn't relate that it was actually going to be tied into the Aliens universe. So I feel like that was the big twist at the end.
Right.
Yeah, Alien vs Predator. I'm more acquainted with like the movies. If you can remember from the last podcast, from my hilarious freaking covering myself in mud story.
Yes. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I feel like you're probably going to hear me chat more about the movies than Tim is in this little sequence.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I one of my notes here, just in terms of the story, for me, I'm just going to get this out of the way. Like, there was good points, but I feel like a lot of it was wasted on me because I didn't really know.
Yes, there is a lot of references to the movies in that.
Yeah,
in
so
that
I feel like in terms of story, it's all going to be just.
But yeah, we'll get into
that. Anyway, performance. What did you play it on?
We're not going to do some little tidbits first.
Oh, you do your little fucking.
Oh, like the
Liam's facts.
Liam's facts of the day.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Alien vs Predator. It was created by Rebellion Developments, who have also made the previous Alien vs Predator games, and they made a lot of games. But the big series is the the Sniper Elite games.
Oh yeah, they made that.
Yeah, they made that. They made how many has it been now? Like four.
Four, I think.
Yeah, they made all them. Yeah, so that's the big series.
Yeah, I love those games.
I've never played one properly outside of
like the demo,
like the demos and stuff like that. Yeah,
so satisfying.
They just shoot someone in the balls. That's all. When I hear Sniper Elite, that's all I hear. Ball shots. It was made by Rebellion Developments, and it was published by Sega. Sega. Don't know if I do not know if Sega published the original game.
Before we go any further,
go on.
Going back to Sonic and Sega,
go on.
Have you seen they're doing like a Nintendo Direct style thing, but just for Sonic?
Are they?
They've announced it or something like that.
But just
I've not even looked into it. I just know that somebody labelled it as it's basically a Nintendo Direct,
but just for Sonic.
For Sonic.
Why just for Sonic?
Don't know. Move on.
They can't have that much stuff for Sonic, surely.
I mean, what else has Sega got though?
That is true. Sonic is like the only thing keeping them going. Moving on. It was released February 16th, 2010 in North America, February 18th in Australia, and February the 19th in Europe on the PC, PlayStation 3, and 360 simultaneously. It is a first-person shooter with kind of like melee elements, but it also had like a heavy focus on like the multiplayer as well, because the original games, the AVP, like that was the main focus, like the multiplayer, kind of like how Call of Duty has its campaign, but the main focus is the multiplayer. This game is a reboot. It's not actually a sequel to the previous games. Like the first one, Alien vs Predator, came out in 1999, but then they did another one called Alien vs Predator 2 in 2001. But the fans do, instead of calling this Alien vs Predator, because the first one is called Alien vs Predator, they just call it Alien vs Predator 3 anyway, so just to save some confusion. I mean, Tim, you know how gory this game is, don't you?
How gory it is.
Gory it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's on my notes, that, yeah.
Yeah, so if I told you it was released in Australia, what immediately comes to mind?
I'd say that's a lie.
What would you usually get when... Think back to Left 4 Dead 2, what do you usually get when you mix violence with Australian...
They've not censored it, have they?
Here's a little story for you. Yeah, so apparently an early version of this game was submitted to the OFLC, that's like the Australian classification board. But when they showed it to him, it was denied any form of classification in 2009, and it was banned from being sold altogether in Australia. But Sega, once they found this out, they came out and said that we're going to appeal for a decision to sell it in Australia, but without changing it in any way whatsoever. So they weren't going to get rid of the blood. They weren't going to remove the killing. They wanted to release it in its proper violent state in Australia. And they did in December the 18th, 2009. Sega won the decision, and Australia amazingly released it completely unedited in any way, shape, or form. One of the person who reviewed it on the classification board, they said that they felt it warranted I think it was like a 15, even though it was like an 18 everywhere else. I think it warranted a 15 in Australia because while the game was violent, the really gory moments, i.e., when you grab them and fucking, tear their fucking heads off and stuff like that, it was very brief and like, they said that because it was so brief they could get away with it, because like the violence, all the other violence was like took place like, that was kind of like outside of the player's control kind of thing. So it was like, like during some of the missions when like you had like for when you're playing the alien and you see your alien mates killing people.
Yeah.
It was kind of stuff like that. So because there was so much violence that happened,
alien mates.
I know your alien pals. So because there was so much violence happening outside of the player's control, they felt like they could get away with saying it was a 15 kind of thing. And they also came out and said that because
that sounds like they've just copped out because they've been called out.
Because they've been called out, yeah. But and they also said because the violence ties in so much with the nature of like the movies that the game was originally set on. I think that was kind of that
they probably released in Australia without
any
issue whatsoever.
So because like it's all, as you just said, it's all basically ways for him to make it sound like we came to this decision. It's got nothing to do with the fact that Sega fucking tried to appeal us.
Exactly, that's it.
But yeah, in the end, Sega won the appeal.
18 then.
I know this was the thing. I don't know if it's changed now, but at the time, the OFLC did not have an 18 plus rating. That's why when a load of violent games came to, I don't know if I'm right about this. This is just the little tidbit I'm going off, but I think that's why when the majority of really violent games came to Australia, I feel that's why a lot of them were changed, because there wasn't actually an 18 plus rating. Which makes sense. Obviously, that's why they had to change it, because there was no 18. But why did they not have an 18 rating? That's so bizarre. When everyone else in the world had an 18 rating. Australia, man, you're weird.
Yeah, the classification stuff there is just fucking stupid.
I feel like with every violent game, there's always something to do with Australia, like changing the game or just flat out not being released.
Is it still quite bad now, or is it?
I've not heard anything bad about it recently. Now that I think about it, I feel like they finally sorted this shit out.
I think a lot of people there as well, just if they didn't allow it, they just imported it from fucking Japan
for like extortionate amount of price. Yeah.
So they could never really stop it anyway.
No. Yeah, this game also had Lance Henriksen return for his iconic voice as Bishop Wayland in the game. Do you know which character I'm on about?
Yeah. No.
But he's a guy. He's like Bishop Wayland. He's like the guy who opens that pyramid at the beginning.
Right. Okay,
you know the main guy.
Yeah. The main guy.
The guy. No, he is pretty much like, apart from I was going to say Ridley Scott then, Christ. Apart from Ripley from the first Aliens, he's pretty much like the face of like these franchises. But yeah, he came back because he actually did act like the character of Bishop in like the first Aliens and stuff like that as well. So having him back to actually do the voice of Bishop was a pretty
big thing.
Good thing for the fans, yeah.
Good. I'm happy for you.
So yeah, thanks. So yeah, Alien versus Predator, it never really was like a thing that started from the get-go. It was like two separate things, wasn't it? You had the Alien movies that came out originally, and then Predator. Neither of them... I'm telling you like you know this.
I know.
So yeah, Aliens came out first. I think it was, 1980-something. I want to say 1981, the first one came out. I don't know. But yeah, Aliens came out first, and then Predator did like its own thing with Arnold.
So when they released the movies like that, were they released purposely to eventually come together type thing? Or were they...
This is what I'm building up to. This.
Ooh, I'm spoiling this.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Here we go. You ruined it for me.
Sorry.
I'm joking. So Aliens came out first and then Predators, but at the time, they were pretty much two separate movies. Like, there was no connection whatsoever between any of it. And then the first Alien versus Predator story was actually that I don't feel like a lot of people picked up on this. It was actually first published by Dark Horse Comics. In Dark Horse, it's actually like a series called Dark Horse Presents, and it's like a compilation of like short stories that people have like written up and drawn out and stuff like that. But it was through issues 34 and 36 throughout November 1989 and February 1990. So that was the first AVP, but because it was in Dark Horse Comics, which I don't think a lot of people knew about, no one really realised that Aliens versus Predator was a thing.
Yeah.
But in November 1990, Predator 2, the movie, was released. And there's a scene in that movie where the main character, I think it's Donald Glover, I think he's the main guy.
Really?
The actor, yeah. There's the big showdown between him and the Predator on the Predator's ship. And they fight in this big like trophy room because predators collect like the skulls of the people they kill and stuff like that. And so you see all these like human skulls and like alien kind of skulls like you've never seen, but one skull you see is actually a xenomorph skull. Oh. So that's when people started and thought, hang on, is Aliens and Predator in the same universe? So people started thinking that's when people started really like picking up on it. But then, one moment, sorry.
That's such a cool little thing. That.
Yeah, I mean, this little tidbit like that, and people going like, whoa, hang on, why is an alien skull there? And stuff like that.
That's awesome.
But that's the first little hint that people picked up on before the franchise became as big as it is today. But since that Predator 2 came out, Fox was trying to turn it into like a cinematic series for years. But I think it was stuck in like development hell for like pretty much a decade, really.
Yeah.
So they kept getting like loads of different writers and stuff like that. They kept putting pitches forward, but it kept getting rejected. So yeah, it was stuck on this like shit development cycle for ages until finally in 2004, being directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. I don't know. That doesn't ring a bell. Yeah. Oh yeah, Paul. Yeah, doesn't ring a bell. Yeah, until he finally released the first film, Aliens versus Predator, and it was pretty shit. It was pretty shit.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, the Aliens vs Predator series has been, aside from the games, because the first two.
Until that point, you was convinced me. You know what? I feel it sounds like a really cool like merging of like just a franchise.
It was like apparently. I remember watching behind it because I was properly like into Aliens and Predator when I was younger. So when I got the Alien vs Predator movie on DVD, I remember watching like the behind the scenes stuff, and they talked about how Aliens vs Predator came up. And going back to that Dark Horse Comics bit, there was two writers. One of them was, I think they originally wanted to do a story about, I can't remember, it was either just about aliens or about just about Predator. But they were trying to think like, what kind of enemy can we give them to like, you know, make, because like the whole of like the first Alien movies was like just one single alien being able to kill like an entire ship full of people. And the first Predator was like one Predator being able to take out like an entire group of like elite soldiers until he finally got killed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So yeah, they were basically trying to think like, right, we've got this character, like what kind of enemy can we throw it at, and that makes it feel like it's a worthy enemy. So apparently, one of the writers, he went to the toilet and he sat there on the toilet thinking, and then that's when he thinks about either Alien or Predator to whoever was originally getting written about. And then he went back to the other writer and he said he slammed his fist down on the table and he went, Aliens versus Predator. And that's how this came about, apparently.
That sounds like...
So yeah, this entire hey, it was on a DVD, so it must be. So yeah, this entire franchise was conceived on a toilet. So there you go. Which probably explains why it's so shit.
Yes, there you go.
No,
there's the link.
There's the link. The Alien vs Predator movies were lackluster compared to the singular series, but the games did a lot better because I remember the first two were pretty popular, especially just for the multiplayer. But this one we'll go into about it soon. Just a few more for you. Yeah, the names of the trophy and achievements, they were all named after lines from Aliens, Predator, and Predator 2, which, you know, tickle my pickle a bit. Yep. And then one last little tidbit for you. Many of the sound effects used in this game was reused for a game called Alien vs Predator Evolution, which was an iOS game released in February 28th, 2013. So a lot of sounds you heard in that mobile game was sounds that was used in this game.
Well, whatever keeps costs down, I suppose.
Yeah. And last but not least, a sequel has been considered for this game for ages, but we're now 10 years on without any kind of sequel. So
has there not been a single game in this universe since? Was this the last one?
There has been singular Alien games like Alien Isolation.
Oh yeah,
brilliant horror game.
And then and that Predator's coming out.
Yeah, that Predator Hunting Ground as well. It's like a multiplayer kind of game, but there's never actually been another Alien versus Predator game.
When's that Predator game coming out?
I know it's this year. I can't remember though. It's not far off now. I think it's April. I think actually, off April or May.
I don't know why I'm pretending I'm interested. I'm not getting
it. But yeah, there's never been a proper sequel to this, which is a shame because I feel like if they redid it now, like a new one, I feel like they could make something good. But that's just me being the Aliens and Predator fan that I am.
Yeah. Well, shall we talk about the game then?
Yes, that's my tidbit.
There you go. That's it for Liam's. We need a name for this. We need a catchy something because I feel like it's getting better.
It's getting better.
You know, like the list of like facts and shit that you come with is like, oosh, this is like, you could just make like a YouTube series out of this for different games.
Oh god.
Just like saying that there's already people that do that, so
like snack facts, I don't know.
Snack facts.
I don't know. Fact snacks, I don't know.
Right.
I might have come up with this name for the name for this podcast, but I can't come up with names for anything else.
We'll work on it.
It's
definitely not
it's
snack facts or fact snacks or whatever. It's definitely not that.
We should start up a poll. Should it be fat snacks or something else?
Right.
Yeah, moving on, sorry.
Performance.
Yeah, I had no problems. I played it on PC. I remember when I first played it, when it first came out, I actually played it on the 360, and I don't remember it being any kind of problems on the 360 either, so... Yeah, PC. Apart from that, the fact that it was locked at 70 FOV, and you couldn't change it. It was fine. Graphics was the character models in the. I'll talk about it in presentation, but the character models in the game was good, but it was a graphics I just seemed a bit like ugh. But yeah, there was no stuttering, loading times. There was a few, but they were never massive for me. Yeah, no, there was the only glitches that come to mind that I can remember was like sometimes like the character models, instead of walking, like the feet would just lock together and they just kind of like floated across.
One of those ones.
Yeah.
Why is that such a common thing? Like, obviously, when they're designing the model, it's just gone to its model state.
Yeah. It's T-pose in state.
There seems to be like one of the universal glitches that like seem. Yeah, it's funny.
Well, yeah. Apart from that, performance-wise, I've got nothing bad to say about it really.
Good.
What about you?
Mine crashed a few times.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it seemed to be like when it was starting a new chapter. So when it was loading, it just shut down.
Oh.
And then it just put me back.
What is it with you and your games crashing?
I don't know, man. It's doing my... Because I can play anything recent and it's fucking smooth. But for some reason, any of these, it just... Yeah, so it was like... But then I'd load the game back up, press continue, and it'd be fine. So it weren't a massive issue, but it happened quite a few times. But that was it, really. Yeah.
60 FPS,
yep.
Resolution fine, yeah.
Yep.
No glitchiness or anything like that. No. So there you go then. At least you got that right.
Yeah, for a change.
Okay. Moving on to the story. I'll let you take the reins on the story this time because I fucking talked everyone's ears off with Darksiders.
Honestly, I have no idea what was going on.
Tell us what it was, because there was 3 different stories, wasn't there?
Yeah. So
break it down for us. Break it down, DJ.
I can't even remember I played the Marine one first.
Yeah, that is the recommended one you should play first.
So there's 3 campaigns. There's the story, then the aliens, then the Predator.
You said there's a story, then the aliens, and the Predator.
There's a story. Yeah. There's the Marine, the story for the Marine, then the alien, then the Predator. Fucking A. So I played the Marine first.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Which is the longest one. I just did it in the order that would come up on the menu, to be honest. I can't really remember how it starts because I played it first and then I played the others, and I was like, I can't remember.
It started off. You were on that ship, weren't you? And just as the Predator character ship materialized in space, and the Marlow got blown up,
and then it blew up,
and then you crash land. Yeah,
that's the one. And then you just end up on this fucking planet, and you're roaming around, and you see a load of aliens. That's it. The end. Done. And then.
Yeah, the story for the 3 of them were basic. I feel like
there was nothing there for me to remember.
There really wasn't. The Marines story was the one that I feel like they focused the most on story-wise. Mainly in terms of like the characters you meet and stuff like that.
But it's the one that I remember the least.
I feel like it's just because the gameplay for them, which we'll go into this, but the gameplay for the Marine human side is just so boring compared to the other 2. I feel like that might be why. That's why it was for me. I get what you mean, though.
I think the most interesting bit was like the actual ending of it. Where it kind of starts going into obviously the lore of that world and the relics and stuff that are there and the rituals and whatever. That's the most interesting, but it doesn't seem to just go into it. that's why I wrote down. I feel like a lot of it was wasted for me because I feel like a lot of the things that it was showing me and like hinting at and whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
I felt like that's already been built somewhere else in the films, and I should already have a knowledge of whatever's going on.
It definitely does help to have watched the movies before you play this game.
So yeah, that's probably why I don't.
I feel like because they focus on 3 different campaigns as well, I feel like that's why each story felt a bit basic. Yeah, instead of doing one focused campaign.
I think the good thing about it is that they're all tied together as well. Like, overlap each other, which I did like.
Yeah. Some things you do in one campaign, you'll see again in like like. The biggest example of that is when in the spoilers, obviously, but when you're playing for the Alien campaign, he impregnates the Predator, and then you meet that thing that comes out of the Pred Alien, as it's called, in the Predator's version. So it's just stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, just to break it down a bit more, the Marine story is basically what you crash land on a planet and you're basically just trying to get off it throughout the majority of it, aren't you? It's like you keep calling for help, like, and as ship comes, like it'll get like there's that Predator, it's shot down, and then it all breaks down, so you have to find a Bishop to like use his like his personal transport to bring down the We probably should start off like how all this started. It also basically started with
well, it started with aliens.
Yeah, it started with aliens. Yeah. Basically, everything, the shitstorm that kicked everything off was that Bishop found it's like a Predator like vault, wasn't it? Like a pyramid, and it's full of like, because like the Predator race is like very like technologically like advanced race, aren't they? Yeah. So he opens that, but it releases like a massive like blast from it. And that blast is also what like releases like the alien in its star, and it also is what sends out like a beacon to the Predators to like come and basically see who's fucking about with our stuff, basically. Yeah. So yeah, and as I said, then the Marines, it's basically just you crash land on the planet, you need to get off it. You fight some stuff along the way. You fight a big alien. You fight you fight Bishop at the end, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, and then you fight him and you get off the planet, and it's all about
fuck me, those boss battles, man. We'll get to that in
the yeah, that's the but I feel like with the Marines, it was more the focus on like the characters who came along, really, because they were the ones with like the most personality compared to the other two. Yeah,
because they could speak.
Because they're humans. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, yeah.
While there was speaking with other entities in like the other two, there wasn't really the depth of.
Oh no!
The alien one, especially
the Alien and Predator campaign, are so much shorter as well.
The alien one's the shortest one as well.
It's like a third of the size, whatever it is. Like
that's the main campaign they focus on was definitely the Marine one. Yeah, but yeah, big boss battle, then you escape the planet, blah blah blah. Like Aliens one was very basic. It's like
the story.
Yeah, the story. Alien.
The beginning of it interested me the most. Where you captured.
Oh yeah, we were in that you're in like
that
test
lab
chamber,
and stuff and whatnot. That I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. And then it let you free, and then you had to try and figure out how to move it. And honestly, it's and after that, to be honest, shaking my fist. No, but after that, in terms of the story, I was like, it just seemed to be nothing. It started off for me. I was like, oh yeah, I mean.
You basically start off as like you're like an experiment, aren't you? Yeah. You're Subject 6, aren't you?
Yeah,
or you just get called 6 for short. You basically like there's 2 people at the beginning.
It's like they're kind of trying to tame you in it for using as a weapon or
so they just had like face huggers on them, them little fucking they cream out so much.
Head grab.
Yeah, head crab. Yeah. I feel like that's what head crabs came from in not Halo, Half-Life. Sorry. Yeah, they both just had an alien put in them. One of them breaks out, but as they come out, they go into like a little tube, don't they, for capture. But one of them, you're pretty smart, so you fucking go back into your little body, the body that you just came from. I love that bit so much. I was like, oh god. But then the scientists come in to collect the tubes, and they're like, hang on, where's 6 gone? And that's when you see that fucking corpse, his throat start bulging, and you come out the mouth instead, don't you? Yeah. But then the doctor in charge of like the experiment, he's about to kill you off. That's when Bishop comes and goes, no, don't. Says, I like this one because you're obviously smarter than the rest. Then skip forward however long it is, and you're a full grown xenomorph. And then, as Tim said, you go through like these little. It's basically a tutorial bit in it. Yeah. You get given like people getting led. It's like I like how not many of them questioned at the fact they were being led through this corridor that was like covered in blood and guts. That. It's like, hang on, this doesn't seem right. But they get led into this room and you kill him. But that's when that big EMP blast from the opening of that vault happens, and that's what frees you from your restraints. You escape. And that's when the matriarch, like the big queen alien, you start like hearing her, don't you? And she tells you to release her and stuff. And then, but as you said, that's it. The rest of the story is just about like freeing aliens and killing people. That's it.
Yeah, it's just kind of like get to whatever waypoint it tells you to go to.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was me because I think when I said about it crashing, I think there was one or two bits where it crashed as it was going to the next chapter. So the cutscene or whatever that was beginning or the end, it cut off, but it had saved the checkpoint. So when I loaded it back up, it started from the next bit after the cutscene. So I was like, oh, I've missed something here. I felt like I'd missed something. What I was, but
no, obviously not. But yeah, but that's it. And then in going back to the Marine story, when he kills the alien queen in his version, the death of the queen is what knocks 6 out in the alien campaign. So again, there's this bit of like tying in with each campaign, ain't there? But that's it. You die, and then you get No, you don't die. So you get knocked out. You get captured, but then being obviously like the alien that you are, you manage to escape, and then the aliens end, and it's like you basically become like you turn into like a queen yourself, don't you? And that's it. That's the alien campaign. So out of the 3, Alien's definitely the shortest and, in my opinion, the worst. Especially when I agree with you, like that testing bit at the beginning. I thought when I first played it, I thought this is building up to be quite interesting. Especially because I just played the Marine one as well, and it was a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the start of it is brilliant, and then literally after the first 5-10 minutes, it's like all downhill, like rapidly. And I don't think the gameplay helps, but again,
we'll get into that. Get to that. And then finally, there's the Predator story. You play as like a very newly made like elite Predator. I feel like his actual name is just called like the Dark Elite, but fans they just call it. I know they just call him Dark just to shorten it down even more.
Even better, Dark.
Fucking hell! All right, Dark.
Fuck's sake. Right.
Yeah, so you basically answer like a distress call from other predators that were just sent down onto that planet to investigate the signal. So yeah, you go down. Again, it's pretty basic. You go down. You find the bodies of your predator mates. You set them. You make them blow up, don't you? Using the wrist thing, so no one can get. That's the biggest concern. We don't want anyone getting their hands on like their technology, which is why they were pretty pissed off when Wayland managed to open that vault. You blow them up so no one can catch them and steal the technology. Again, it's the same. You're just going from point to point, just collecting different weapons, and there you go. You've got that thing that's been following you, that Pred alien. Because you meet that quite early on, don't you? Yeah. And then you have the big showdown with that, and then that's it. And then the Predator. I think is it the Predator one? That's where you find the coordinates to the alien's homeworld. Right at the end.
I'm not sure. Yeah, because they fly off, don't they?
Yeah, you see. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, but then I feel that's what was setting up the sequel. That it was going to take place on the Xenomorph homeworlds, but
and they were going to go and fuck them up.
They were going to go fuck their shit up. Yeah, but it's weird because. They said that the aliens in this game had their own homeworld, but in Alien Covenant, the movie, the one that came out after Prometheus, they basically did like an entirely different origin for the aliens. So it's kind of like, hang on, which one do we follow here? So is Alien versus Predator set in like its own like alternate universe or what? So it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of split up stuff a little bit. But yeah, that's it. Again, neither of the stories are particularly good. The only reason I like the Alien and the Predator one more than the human one was because the gameplay was so much better, in my opinion.
Okay.
We'll go into that. But yeah, that's it for story. Basic. The Alien one was the shortest.
So the fact that you're quite invested in this universe of aliens and predators and all the rest of it and the films and stuff, the fact that you think it's basic.
I mean, it gets the job done, but compared to the movies, it's... Yeah. Again, I feel like if it just didn't focus on 3 different campaigns, I feel like it could have been better. If it just did, like, one focus.
The Alien game that's come out is meant to be really good, isn't it? The recent one. Where it's kind
Isolation.
of like... It's
like the horror one. Yeah. That one is really, really good.
Yeah, so there you go. It's proof's in the pudding.
That's it. But yeah, another thing for this... Do you not feel like they reused... levels too much in that game?
That's the
when you're playing through like your third campaign as well.
I think it's a good thing that the stories overlap, but then in terms of like when you're playing it, it's like, oh, I've been through this.
Like I've been through this jungle so many times.
Especially, like you said, by the second time, it's a bit like, oh right, I know, I already know which way to go. Just go that way. So then by the third time, it's like,
yeah, I don't know. It's like jungle, refinery, pyramid, boom, done.
And then some of them, well, the Alien and Predator campaign, some sections are even cut out from that as well. So it's like you've got even less.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I suppose not that it's a bad thing. It saves me going through it again, I suppose.
Again, yeah. But like you get through it quicker than it. But yeah, each campaign wasn't long. You could probably, even like the Marine one, you could complete in about 4 hours. Like even that.
I think I did it less than that. I'm sure I did it in about 2.5, 3, 3 tops.
Like even if you went about to collect, there's like collectibles and stuff that you can get as well. Like for the Marines, it's data pads. For the Predators, it's like trophies and fucking hell, what is it for the Alien? Like Queen jelly or something like that. It's like little jars of fucking jelly.
Yeah, it's like I always just thought it was nuclear waste, but yeah, that's what it looks like. Just little jars of nuclear waste.
I'm sure I saw a thing come up like saying like there's cans of like cans like tubes of like
they've got a factory like Abe's Odyssey of just canning fucking.
It reminds me of Slurm from Futurama. Yeah. That cans of Slurm. So there's like collectors and stuff, but I feel like even if you did all that, you'd
what for?
Exactly, it's not much. I feel like you might unlock something like the multiplayer, a bit like skins and stuff, but I feel like that's it. Even if you did all that, each one would be like roughly 4 hours long to complete, so it's not a long game. But again, I feel like
the Alien and Predator campaign each took me less than 2 hours. I'd say about an hour and a half.
I was definitely done with the Aliens in like around about the 2 hour mark at least.
To be fair, I was playing on easy.
Yeah, so was I. To be fair,
so I was just, especially by the Predator one, I was just blasting. I weren't worried about
getting caught or anything.
No, I was like, fuck this. I've seen this. But yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Presentation.
So yes, I thought even though the levels are different design, like you said, the jungle, the refinery, then the pyramid, and blah blah blah, I thought it was all very samey.
It was a bit, yeah.
I find that really confusing. That it's the areas are supposed to be quite varied. Yet it all felt like one big mash of the same shit.
For me, I mentioned this more in the gameplay, but because it was very point to point, like objective based, like the campaign, it all felt like one big corridor to me. Even in like the kind of like openy bits in the jungle and that, it just felt like one long corridor. Yeah,
like the variation in the zones felt weird that they felt so close together.
Yeah.
It was just really quite weird.
But in terms of like how
it's like you could see that they've just had a fucking chalk whiteboard up, and then they've just gone, right, we'll have this area, this area, right, just make them, and then just fucking bash them together in a level design, whatever. Just there you go. That's the end of that one, and that's the start of that
this one. Yeah,
you just walk.
Yeah, it'd be like this point happens here, which will move on to this bit, and so on and so on.
Yeah, and some of them aren't even that. It's literally you just walk across a fucking door and then you're into the jungle. And then from the desert to the jungle or whatever, and it's like, okay.
Well, what was I going to say? Yeah, even though, as you said, like the environments were same, I felt like in terms of like, I say this, like, in terms of like how you would realistically expect a futuristic setting to be, I feel like, because when you see most futuristic settings, you see like, flying cars, massive towering, spires and stuff like that. But in terms of this, because it's very similar to like how Aliens was, but so that bear in mind this is like a sci-fi setting that was made in like the 80s, like with like very limited like set pieces and like graphics and stuff. I feel like in terms of like how, because it was very like dark and gritty, like corridors of like pipes and stuff everywhere. It's like in terms of like how a realistically futuristic setting would look. Like I think like given us like another 1,000 years or so, I reckon like that's what fucking, so if we like make it to Mars or whatever, like I reckon that's what it'll look like, something similar to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of like realistically sci-fi settings, I quite liked it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I liked it more because, as I just said, it felt very similar to like how the ships and stuff felt in like the first Aliens movie and stuff like
authentic
that. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. But yeah, the character models I enjoy. Like, they were pretty detailed, more so the aliens and the predators, but I felt like the humans models were reused way too much.
Right. Well, I was going to put that down as a note, like, as a positive, like the design of whatever, like the characters and the enemies. Well, not the enemies, but the main character and stuff was good. But then I'm like, why should I? It's been done for them. It's
well, yeah, I guess.
I can't put that down as positive for them for a game design when...
But you could argue that it's the quality of the character models themselves. Yeah, like they could have looked quite basic and shit.
Yeah, right, well, it's good then, in that regard.
Even though like the facial animations of the humans was a bit weird.
Yeah, they're awful.
I wouldn't say awful. They could, I've seen better, definitely. But they were a bit like... It's the eyes that did me the most. It looked like they were popping out their heads sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
the voice acting as well was... And I know it's not visual or anything like that, but...
Well, it's still a presentation.
Yeah. So, I felt like it was good, but I can't remember exactly a pinpoint, but I remember thinking at certain points that some bits were just weirdly stitched together.
What do you mean?
I feel like... I can't remember the bits now, and it's doing me head because I remember thinking it, and I can't remember what it was. But I feel like, for example, like they were just shouting sometimes in just random situations.
Right. Like, I get what you mean, yeah. What they're shouting at, yeah.
What they're shouting at, like, just weird things like that. But then for the most part, the voice acting I thought was quite good, actually.
Yeah, like I said, I can't remember his name, sorry. Lance Henriksen with Bishop, he was good. Tequila, I liked her voice.
Yeah.
Who else is there? That's it. That's the two main characters. Oh, what was that cyborg girl's name called? Was it cats? Nat. You know what I mean, don't you? In the Marines one, that female cyborg lady.
Yeah, I can't. Don't ask me.
No, yeah, she was good as well. I can't remember her name. I was like Catnya, something like that. But yeah, she was. I thought she was pretty good as well.
One of the worst things for me in terms of thing. Well, there's the field of view, like you mentioned before. Oh fuck me, it was awful. Really, really bad. Like, especially for how fast. Like the enemies and stuff move, especially when you're playing as the Marine. Oh, why? Like, I needed to see more.
Yeah,
it was just too fucking narrow.
I know,
really, really.
They
narrow.
didn't give it enough, especially because the enemies could like go on the frigging ceilings and everything. But yeah, I thought like the sound design and stuff was good. Like, this is for me because I watched the movies, but a lot of the sounds in this game were very bang on to like how they were in the movies, or like the aliens, especially like the hissing and like the predators like clicking and stuff. That
was another thing I was going to write down as well.
What, predator hissing? Not predator.
Same as like the design of the characters and the aliens and predators. I was going to write the sound design is brilliant.
Yeah,
especially the aliens in the early Marines bit and stuff like that when you can hear them and whatnot. I thought, this is really, really good. But then I thought, no, again, I'm not writing
because they've done it for
him. It's been done for them. It's there. The work's done. They didn't. I
feel like saying this. You could argue this game is actually like a movie game in a way. It's like one of the better ones. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean, though. But it's hard to like.
But it is good. The sound design is good, yes.
That's another thing as well. Like, I feel like they'd really... Because the Marines campaign did feel a lot more like a horror, like FPS kind of one compared to the other two. Yeah. And I feel like they nailed it with like the first few levels, like when you were just dealing with like the aliens and stuff like that. And you hadn't even met the Predator yet.
Yeah.
Especially because you got that motion detector, haven't you?
Yep.
And just when you hear those pings getting faster and faster in like the dark, and you're like, fuck, what's that?
But then that seems to vanish.
Yeah, it plays a much less bigger of a deal as you get later on.
Atmosphere and that tense feeling that it gives you in, like you say, in the first few levels. Now that you mention it, I don't remember thinking of whatsoever after that opening bit where you're in that, where everything's locked down and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't remember thinking of it at all after that.
No, once you get into like the more open like canyons and like forest bits, when you're more in like them dark corridors where there's like little light, it's like a lot more scary. What bit made me like tense up the most? I think it was just before you went into that club bit and Tequila said something's on top of you and your thing starts going crazy. And it's actually the Predator jumping across the top of it. And he plays like, how he can like record people's voices and he plays them like proper distorted. And you like hear someone jumping and you can like hear him that replaying that laughing. It's like, it sounds better than that, but I just remember hearing that and thinking, that's actually quite creepy, that. But yeah, as again, like when you hear your thing going crazy, like something's near, and you hear like the aliens hissing in the darkness, it's like, oh shit, here we go. But as you said, it just loses all that later on, which is weird. A shame. Yeah. And again, the Predator and the alien ones isn't scary at all because the humans aren't scary.
No.
And even on the Predator side, when you see the aliens, they're not scary because you can kill them in like one hit, pretty much, yeah. Or just plasma cast them, dead, boom.
The old razzle dazzle.
The old razzle dazzle. The whole fucking one. Oh, what was it in Bioshock? The 1-2 punch. That was it. Like the 1-2 punch. Another good thing. The kill animations were fucking brilliant.
Yeah, when you grab them,
they were fucking brilliant. Like the first person killing.
The humans didn't. The Marines didn't have anything like that, did they?
No, because they had the gun. Because the Predator and the Alien were a lot more melee based.
Yeah.
They didn't have any grab animations.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember that. Obviously, it was both the Aliens and Predators had one.
Yeah,
and I couldn't remember if I just missed it for the. Obviously not.
I think the one I liked the most was, I think it's like the alien when you grab him, you use your little fucking mouth tongue thing.
Yeah.
But as it goes into the heads, it's like you're looking through the mouse point of view, so it's all just like fucking inside the red. It's like, oh, that's pretty good, that.
Yeah, some brilliant ones, definitely.
And like the Predator is just like fucking ripping people's spines out. It's like,
yeah.
I just remember watching it. Like, did I really used to watch this stuff as a kid?
Yeah, it was. First time I saw him pull the head off and the spine and everything come out, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. That's cool as fuck.
But it's good. But that's what the Predator does. He's literally ripping people's spines out. What else we got? No, I think that's every presentation from me.
Yeah, I've not really got much.
Moving in then, finally, gameplay, the big one.
Shall we start with the Marine?
Yeah, because each character is very different in terms of gameplay, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Well, Predator and Alien are kind of similar because they're both stealth focused, aren't they? But
yeah,
they're both different.
The way they go about it, yeah.
But yeah, we'll start with the Marine. The Marine's your very typical basic FPS kind of game.
Yeah, very
sprinting. There's nothing really unique you can do really compared to the Alien and the Predator, is there? Apart from like the weapons you get, like your smart gun and stuff like that.
Which one's that?
Like it's like that minigun that kind of like locks onto your enemies.
Yeah.
Apart from stuff like that, like you need
even still, it's just an easy baby's first minigun.
Yeah, and like your flamethrower and stuff like that. It's just like you get your pulse rifle, shotgun. It's all your basically typical FPS kind of weapons.
You get a few bits like a blade, like you turn into fucking Dark Sector.
Yeah, style. Yeah,
I never really used it though.
I never did.
It was piss poor.
What I mainly used was my grenades on my freaking pulse rifle.
Yeah.
Just freaking knock them back and grenade and that's it. Sorted, done.
But yeah, it's pretty run of the mill.
It's very
get through this section, kill whatever's there.
Sprint, yeah. The only unique thing that I could think, as we talked about for the Marine, is that you've got that motion detector, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which is meant to add to the horror aspect of it, as we've talked about, but it only does it for like, it becomes, apart from like, and again, because like the levels become so bright and open in like in the later ones, you can see what's coming from miles away anyway, so you don't really need it.
I think one of the negative points I put down for the Marine as well was the compass, especially early on. Compass was just full fucking wonk.
I agree. Yeah,
I've never seen it done like that before. It was kind of like you follow to the waypoint, and then it just changed to an arrow in a different direction as you hit it. But sometimes it wouldn't trigger, so it just fucking stay there. I didn't like it.
No, I know what you mean. I agree because it kind of confused me a bit during the beginning, like when you're going through like these like corridors and stuff like that. It's like, where is this taking me? But yeah, there's nothing else really unique about the Marines, is there?
No. Also, the fucking radar beeping as well. Was it just me, or did it just never stop? You know, like the blip.
Yeah.
Not when it was detecting something, but just when it was pinging to detect something.
Yeah.
It just constantly made a beep.
Yeah, that's what it is, like blip, blip.
And I was
blip,
like,
blip, yeah.
At first, I'm muting my TV. I'm like, is there something going off somewhere? Like, I thought it was something else. I thought, oh my god! Once I realised it, I couldn't not think about it. Then after that. And it was doing my head in.
You just picture like hearing it in your head. Like what the fuck?
What kind of design is it? Who sat there and thought, you know what would be really good if we just had a constant blip?
What? But that's how it is in the movies. Like you get that and it's constantly flipping. Yeah. But they should have had.
But
I agree.
A movie is an hour and a half.
But I agree with you. You should have had it as like something you could pull out and check yourself. rather than have it something that's constantly on your HUD.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what it is in the game. Like, I mean, not the game, the movies. Like, something you could just pull out, like a motion detector.
Yeah.
It should have just been something that they could have pulled out and, check, like, okay.
Or just don't have a blip sound until it detects something.
But that's how it is. It needs to be authentic, though. It's constantly, like, blip, 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 like in the movies as well, until it hears something that's like, bing, 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 etc. But again, as I'm saying, you shouldn't have had it, like, basically, like you're holding it all the time. You should have, like, been able to, like, turn it on or off. Sorry, am I boring you?
No, I just like how sometimes it's like, it needs to be authentic. Talking about a world where there's fucking
like fucking giant bugs and everything.
Yeah, that's it really.
What I mean is, it needs to be loyal to the movies, not authentic. It needs to be realistic.
Yeah, I get you. It's just as bad.
But that's pretty much it for the Marines.
Another thing that pissed me off as well. Again, because the aliens especially move around so fast and up the ceilings and walls and stuff like that. Why is there no iron sights?
I know. There is no down the sights aim, is there?
Every single game that's a first person shooter that doesn't let you do iron sights down your gun and whatever, fucking zoom in or anything, it's just an automatically 1 out of 10.
No, Doom did it. Quake did it.
Oh, you motherfucker!
And the fucking Halo did it. It's for
Halo did it. Halo is the only good one.
Doom. I did see that good.
You can aim down the sights in the new Doom, though, can you?
Not with all the weapons.
You just called me out, and I've got no comeback whatsoever.
I am Sega. You are Australia.
But with Doom and Halo and stuff, I feel like the camera is fast enough.
Yeah, the fast pacedness of the gameplay does accommodate that a lot more, but because the Marines is a lot slower pace.
And I think it's the enemies as well. There's so many enemies on the screen.
Yeah, they're literally everywhere.
Doom. Exactly. So that not aiming down the sight and spraying works for that. It's been designed for that in mind.
Yeah.
When it's just one alien running up a wall in a fucking pitch black room and you're trying to pinpoint it and all you can do is spray from the floor while it's up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
I do. I know what you mean, yeah. One good thing I liked about when you fought the aliens in the Marine campaign is like you could like shoot the limbs off, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Like if you shot the legs off, they'd just be fucking crawling on the floor towards you, which I did quite enjoy, yeah.
And then they can grab you and shit.
And it was pretty obvious when you did it as well, because you just get like a massive pop, didn't you? So it's it's pretty obvious you just shot something off.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. I liked it when you shot their heads off and stuff.
And just like, poosh, and and you just couldn't go near
them. Some really good bits. It's just the gameplay is just a bit fucking
It's
naff.
all over the show, innit? Yeah, there's some good points, there's some bad points. Marines, that's about it.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, moving on to the
aliens.
Aliens, yeah. Oh man,
go on, you go.
The Aliens is, as we said, it's a lot more stealth focus in it, and it lets you. It's like you're always crawling, so like your point of view is always quite low to the ground, isn't it? But you can also move onto walls and ceilings as well. Does it not knock you sick sometimes when you kind of lose track of where you are?
Alien mode, I've put
alien
dizzying.
It is. Imagine playing something like that in VR. It's like,
oh God, no! That you'd fall over.
But
I guarantee you'd be sick doing that.
But it works. But at the same time, it doesn't. Like I was never like properly stressed about how the alien works. Like I've seen some reviews say like they felt like the transition on walls and the ceiling was too finicky. But you could turn an option on in the options, can't you, where you make the transition because
automatic.
Yeah, you can make it automatic, so you don't have to press a button. No.
Oh, that would have been so much better.
Oh, that's why I turned mine on. I saw there were reviews saying that was a bad point. But then I've seen a lot of people replying, like, you can turn on automatic wall transition in the options.
I never used it, to be honest. I just looked and jumped.
Yeah, that was the easiest way of doing it. Yeah. If you looked at a surface and pressed the jump button, you just leap to it straight away, which, if I'm being honest, that's what I use most of the time anyway, because it was quicker than just going like that.
But yeah, to be honest, the Alien campaign for me was by far the worst.
Was it?
I didn't.
Did you hate the gameplay?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all. I've obviously I didn't have that option on, but I thought it was finicky. And then
I agree it was at times, but only when you had like things protruding from like the walls and the ceiling. So there were some places that had like bookcases and stuff like that. So when you try and like maneuver your way around that, that's when you start realizing like the problems with like this like wall scaling system. But when you're in like just like a big open room, like at the beginning, it does work for me anyway.
I think probably the problem for me was I felt like I could, coming from the Marine one where you feel like you're always being attacked by the aliens, and then you're playing the alien. I feel like, right, now I'm the one that's hunting them.
You are the hunter now.
So then when I'm going after them, there's a group of them, and then I'm not getting nailed, but I'm like, I just feel like I'm taking loads of damage.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like how it was when I was being attacked by them.
Yeah.
So then I think later on in the campaign, I started just staying to one side and then picking them off one by one.
That's what you're meant to do, though.
Well, yeah, exactly, but that's not how it felt while I was playing the Marine campaign.
But yeah,
like I was being just hammered by him.
Yeah, because you had waves thrown at you, didn't you?
Yeah, obviously.
But with this time, it was just most of the time just you.
So I think it kind of like tricked me into a false sense of like fucking power,
like superiority.
Oh, I'll just fucking just hunt them all down and rip all their heads out and just that's it. But even still later on, especially when you get to like the lab area and stuff like that, I just felt it just felt awkward to play. Just an awkward control system. I thought.
I don't know. I
thought the attacks were shit.
Especially a light attack. It never felt like it was hitting anything for me.
It's like you hit them twice with it and then they're dead. And it's like the next one, hit them twice, dead. Next one, it just felt so basic, but with an extra layer of just being awkward to control as well.
Right.
That's what I felt like.
That's fair enough. I can definitely see what you mean. I feel like a lot of people complain. The biggest complaints I've seen most people say about this game is that they don't like the way that the alien controls, like especially in like the campaign. I feel like in the multiplayer the levels are made in such a way that it kind of favors all three, characters in such a way. So I feel like it's quite open and stuff like that. But in the campaign, I feel like that's where most of the complaints came from. It's just it's like I said, people complaining about it, like they kept getting stuck on things on the wall and stuff like that. And that they just kept getting disorientated and losing track of where they are because of like constantly having to move.
Yeah.
Because you do move quite fast as well as an alien, don't you? You're like a fucking little bullet. Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. That's probably another thing that put me off. Obviously, you're upside down and then you're on the sideways and this and that. And then 1 minute you're trying to creep about for drag them out. And then the next minute you jump to a surface and then you fly.
Yeah.
But then as you're fucking flying towards like the ceiling, you're flipping upside down as well.
Yeah.
It's all a bit disorientating. I wasn't a fan.
But I feel like that's probably the closest you can get to like playing as what an alien would be.
Yeah, I mean,
it's I can't think of what else it could have done.
Exactly, I've got no other solution for what
other than like designing, like making like the environments better suited for like the alien gameplay. That's all I can think of.
That's the main problem of having these stories overlap in the same areas.
And because you didn't use weapons or anything, there wasn't really much options in what you could do compared to like the Predator and the Marine as well.
No, you didn't really get anything, did you?
You didn't get any like upgrades or anything, no. You were just that's probably why it was so short, because they probably didn't want to drag it on too much. You basically get, as we mentioned, it's a very stealth focused game, the alien bit.
It's just a light attack.
Yeah, you got your light attack with your claws, you've got your heavy attack with your tail, and then if you manage to knock them down or sneak up behind you can do your grab attack, which triggers the pretty cool like kill animation.
Can you tell me when you've killed an enemy, can you tell me what the point of eating the head was?
I think it's because it makes them, in the movies it made them stronger, like that's what they eat, like the brains of like the people and stuff like that.
Well, I thought it was giving me health. I think it did. At first, when I did it, I thought, "Oh, right, that's what I need to do when I need some health."
Yeah.
And then I did it, and I'm like, "No."
But your health regenerates automatically anyway.
Well, exactly, but it didn't change my health bar or anything. So
I think it's just because
what is the point?
I think it's just because it was a cool thing to do. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. That's fantastic.
But yeah, that's it. As we said, there's no upgrades. There's no nothing else you can do. You can do like a leap attack, can't you? When you lock onto people and leap and knocks them down.
That's what I did the most.
Leap attacks.
Yeah, I just locked on and then jumped, and he just fucking takes them out. And then I just hit him a couple of times on the floor. It was just too easy.
Yeah.
Moving on, shall we? Nothing else to say about.
One sec. Yes. It was just dodgy controls. But for me, I don't think I had as bad of an experience with the alien as you did, but it definitely could have been better. But that's why I feel like if they did a sequel to this game like today, I feel like they know enough now to improve it.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on finally to the Predator one. Same premise as the Aliens. It's all stealth focused, isn't it? But
Yeah.
you're given a lot more
Power.
tools to work with, bigger open environments.
Yeah,
jumping
definitely.
about's much easier.
Oh, so much better. I think it's just because it's vertical as well, constantly. Like, you jump into a surface, but you're upright.
Yeah. But yeah, with the Predator, you can he's got all the technology. He can turn invisible. His
technology.
I have the power. Yeah, you can turn invisible. You got weapons that can pretty much one hit kill enemies, but to offset that, you've got a power bar, haven't you? Whether that's drained, you can't use any of your technology, so you need to find I don't know, energy points that give you your energy back, basically.
I don't even think I used them much, to be honest.
No, because
anyway.
your melee attacks did the job, didn't it?
So yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're given a jumping system, isn't there, where you hold shift, it brings up highlights, doesn't it? And then you press jump, and I like that jumping system. It felt like it works most of the time.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Compared to Aliens, definitely.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And there's a distraction system as well, where I think it's if you press E on an enemy and then press E somewhere else, you basically move them away from a group of enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's when he uses that playback recording stuff. And he's that's my favorite one. It was come on out, motherfucker. So obviously they hear that, they go and investigate, and that's your ideal time to pick them off.
Yeah.
What stuff do you get? You got your claws, obviously.
Yeah.
Your melee stuff. You got your plasma caster.
Yeah.
You get your mines. You get what else you get? You get your boomerang.
That's it, isn't it?
You get your sticks as well, don't you? Your combi sticks.
Or the javelin.
Yeah, the javelin, which is one hit kill.
Yeah.
Just pitch a bow and arrow, but without fucking pulling back and.
Yeah, I enjoyed a spear basically in it.
I did. I just used a plasma caster because that for me was the most iconic. Predator weapon in the movies.
I just like piercing them with I love a good spear or bow
penetrating stuff.
Oh, fucking penetration!
Every time you do it, you just went oh.
No, to be fair, I'm a sucker for anything like that. Bow and arrow.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Bow and arrow in Horizon and stuff like that. I fucking love that shit. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you had your melee system, light attack, heavy.
You also had a vision, the
your heat vision and your green. I call it the green vision to see the aliens.
The alien, yeah. I suppose that's from the films, is it?
It's only in the Alien versus Predator movies. Is that stopped?
No.
It looks like it's not moving.
No, it's still on. I know, it's just saw your face of panic, then I thought, oh.
It just looked like it weren't moving, sorry.
No, it's good.
That green vision that was only in the Alien vs. Predator movies. He had two in Predator 2. He had his iconic heat one. But then there's a bit where the government's trying to catch this Predator to obviously study it. And so they lead him to this massive meat locker factory where it's freezing cold. And they've got these thermal suits on. So when he's trying to use his heat vision, he obviously can't see him. But then I can't remember what happens there. He realizes there's actually something out there, and he changes his vision. And I think he changes it to so he can see electronic signals, and he sees the walkie-talkies and stuff like that. So he does have different ones.
All right,
but that green one, it's only in the AVP stuff.
Right.
But what else has it got?
It was a bit of a ball ache trying to switch between every time you come across some aliens, and then you just change to Marines.
It didn't even need, for me, the well lit areas. It didn't.
No,
you didn't really need it anyway, did you?
No,
you could have just whacked the brightness of the game off, and you would have been fine.
Yeah,
that's something we didn't talk about in the Marines one. Darkness played a big deal. You had the flares in it, and stuff like that.
Sorry, yeah.
But again, once you get into the bigger areas where it's the jungle, where it's light all the time, you don't feel the need to use it anymore.
Started with all good intentions, and then it just fell off.
I feel like that's the case with all the campaigns. It started off really strong, and then it just went downhill. But yeah, sorry, back to the Predator. Each level, each bit was basically a kind of semi-open bit, and you had it was usually a group of humans, sometimes a group of aliens. With the humans, you had to be a bit more stealthy. With the aliens, you pretty much just go to town because they could see you anyway, couldn't you?
Exactly.
Well, they didn't see you, but because they can smell stuff really good, your stuff didn't work. So it was pretty much just kill them. But with the humans, it was very like the Predator system from Arkham Asylum kind of thing. Obviously not as good, but you know what I mean. In this area where you got high elevation, you lead them away kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Definitely
Definitely not as good. But it was good. It felt true to like the Predator's nature. Like you were using all your tech. Like you could set up mines. Distract someone to bring them over, blow them up. It'd bring more people over. That gives you time to pick off other ones, and it all worked well. Like compared to Alien, I enjoyed the Predator gameplay a lot more.
I enjoyed Predator's campaign the most, but at the same time, I found it the easiest.
Was a bit, wasn't it? I feel like just having
really easy,
just having so much stuff that one hit killed everything from a distance made it easy.
Yeah, but it can give you enough where it still felt fun to play. Like so, I think
like because of humans, it could quite easily mess you up if they seen you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too easy. Like for me, anyway. Yeah. Was it just me, or did it sometimes feel as though your cloaking as Predator never worked? Like I felt like I just kept getting spotted by humans very easily.
I know what you mean.
Like because we
kind of give up using it after.
You just charged it.
Honestly, yeah.
You're the worst Predator ever.
Yeah, I got the job done.
Like half of the Predator movie is just him being invisible while you're the charging it.
Because it was always like. No, I used it, and then they attacked the first person. And then as soon as you attack someone, it obviously disables
it.
So then it was like, I'll just attack the rest of them while I'm here. I just used them as cover from the rest of the people that were there.
Yeah.
Once I took them down, I just charged. And there's never more than 2 or 3, really.
I feel like 4 was like the
one
max
spot.
Yeah. Even in like the open like jungle bits, there was only like maybe 6 people tops, but they were pretty spread out.
They're spread out, or like they're in clusters of 2s. Like just work it, so it's like take them down.
But one charged plasma shot has like a splash effect. So a group of enemies are together, you can kill them all in one hit. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay. But if you use that charged plasma shot, they see like the aiming, don't they? So they immediately know where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I can't really think of much problems with the Predator campaign.
No, I enjoyed it. I think if they just designed a full game around
just Predator, it would have been good.
Yeah, and just completely that style of gameplay in mind, and just that.
Just make just a Predator game like just that.
You could still have had the story from the Marines and the aliens without having to play as them.
Yeah.
So.
Or there were some bits as well where you had to find like persons of interest. You had to rip the heads off, didn't you, in order to use them on like retinal scanners. So that was a nice little bit of like mixing it up a bit.
Yeah, well,
I say that, but you know what I mean. It's a bit more different because if you killed him any other way, it would have failed the game, wouldn't it? So you had to sneak up on him.
To finish off on the gameplay topic, shall we just talk about the final boss of each campaign?
Yeah, take us away.
So it's the bishop guy you fight as the Marine at the end, isn't it? Is it the bishop?
Yeah, it's bishop, yeah.
The bald guy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I did with him. I practically just run in, shot him a few times, and he died.
I know, it was pretty... Sorry. Even though the Marine campaign had the most bosses, his last one was definitely
I'm just
easiest.
Talking about the last one, really. I'm not bothered about the others. You set the big fucking alien thing, Queen, on fire and that shit, whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Just shoot the eggs.
Shoot the barrels.
Shoot the eggs, kill the aliens, and shoot the thing. Yeah.
So the Marine one at the very end, you kill him, and does he fall into the fucking thing or something like that? What happens at the very end?
Who, Bishop?
Yeah.
He just kind of he just falls into
the in a fucking volcano out of nowhere or some shit. Fucking random.
Just get your tenses.
Right, we're in a pyramid. Let's just stick a fucking volcano under it, some lava and shit. The alien one. How did that finish? Did it finish with fighting? Yeah,
you fought Wolf, the hunter, the predator. You impregnated him, so that predator alien comes out, and then the matriarch dies, and that's when you pass out in it, and then you're on that ship.
Yeah, that's it.
So fighting Wolf. It was just similar to fighting that predator in the Marines.
In the Marine one,
it's basically similar. You just batter him.
It was just even easier.
Avoid his plasma stuff. Yeah, that was it. It was, and then the last one in Predators one was when you fought that Pred alien,
which was even fucking honestly, it was probably one of the. It was really bad.
It was like
because so you're in that lava pit, and there's some obviously platforms that you jump into and over and whatever and blah blah blah. There's ones at the side that if you just get to that, I just sat there and waited for him to come to me,
and
then just blasted him. And then it'd do a little cutscene 2 or 3 times, whatever it was. And then it'd respawn me back in the middle of the lava thing. And then I'd be like, all right, well, I'll just go back to there, fucking wait for. I could see him jumping about in distance across the rocks and stuff, and I thought,
I can see you.
I'm just there charging my plasma thing up, waiting for him to just stop on my little platform.
It's like, come here, I got something for you.
Yeah, it was really. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, the boss fights. Any boss fight in this game was pretty basic.
Yeah. That's it, really.
That's another thing I want to talk about is like the whole melee combat as a whole. Was it to me, or did it just feel very rock paper scissors to you? So light attacks could counter heavy attacks. Heavy attacks could beat blocking, and blocking could beat light attacks.
To be honest, I didn't really feel the need for that level of detail in it.
Yeah. It does come into play a lot more.
I knew what you mean.
It does come into play a lot more during the multiplayer because it's very melee heavy.
Right, okay, yeah. I know supposedly this is where this game shines in the multiplayer, really.
Yeah, I remember when I first got it, I did enjoy the multiplayer a lot. There's your typical multiplayer matches, and there was one that I enjoyed the most. It was called Bug Hunt. You basically got like, I think it was like Bug Hunt.
Oh, Bug Hunt.
Yeah, what do you think I said?
Bug Hunt.
Bug Hunt. You basically had something like 5 or 6 human players, and another player played as an alien. And you had to, humans had to survive till the end of the round. I think it was something like 10 minutes long. But the alien had to kill off the other aliens. I mean, the other humans. But when you kill a human, they become an alien. So as you kill more and more humans, by the end there could be 1 human left. You're trying to fight off fucking 6 aliens. So it's quite. I have been in situations where I was like the last human, and I'm just seeing my things just going mad. Like, oh, the god, where are they? So it is quite tense, like that mod. And then it's just like I said, all your typical other ones like deathmatch and stuff like that. But the multiplayer is definitely where the main focus of the game was, which is understandable because that's what people played it for, the original ones for, like AVP and AVP2 for the multiplayer. But yeah, I don't know, the melee combat just felt very clunky to me. Like I feel like having a first person shoot, having an FPS like melee system, it's always a bit hit and miss. Outside of just pressing a button, you do like a quick like whoosh like that.
I think that's pretty much the word that I'd sum this game up with, to be honest. Just clunky.
Clunky, yeah.
Just
very average, isn't it? Yeah. It's not terrible.
Meh.
It's very like, okay, yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, it's not bad, and it's definitely not good.
No.
But it's
like,
fine.
I think the multiplayer still has a bit of a community, but we're literally talking double digits, like not even triple digits.
Ooh, exciting.
Which is a shame because
we'll make a new one.
Like, I know, but I don't know what's happening with it. I'm hoping that with like the success of like
no, they'll make a new one. They'll make it Alien versus Predators Battle Royale.
That would not surprise me. Just having a multiplayer focused AVP.
Jesus.
Which that new Predator one's basically just multiplayer.
Multiplayer, so yeah, that could be interesting. That's it. That's all I've got.
One last thing I've got is just, as I mentioned this before, I didn't go into detail about it. Like the whole campaign just felt very point to point. There was no diversity, like open levels. It just felt very long cold. It's like, here's your next objective, go to it. Right, you've done that. Here's your next objective. Follow your marker, and it held your hand way too much. It didn't give you a chance to go. Like, it could have done anything. Like, find something hidden in this area. Like, it's in this area. You know it's in this area. Go find it.
Yeah.
And like having that with like a Predator with like people knocking about and stuff. So you had to obviously like avoid getting caught and stuff like that. It's just little things like that they could have thrown in to like, you know, rock the boat a little bit. But it was all just, yeah, here's your next objective. Right, well done, you've done that. Here's your next one. That was it. It just felt like one long corridor, which is a shame.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, yes. Again, I don't know if they had like limited resources making this game, or they were on like a pretty strict time constraint, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done a lot more with this.
Did a film come out around the same time?
No. AVP 1... The movie AVP 1 came out in 2004.
Right.
And AVP 2, which by the way is the worst movie ever, the second one.
Ever.
Out of all Alien and Predator movies and Alien versus Predator movies, that second Alien versus Predator movie is a lot of wank. It really is. Yeah, that came out, I think, about 2006, 2007, so I don't think any Alien or Predator movie came out roughly about 2010 time.
There you go. That's that then.
That's that then. I think that's it from me about this game.
So, are you glad that we picked this game instead of Deadly Premonitions, instead of Bioshock 2, and instead of
Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, Dante's Inferno. Oh, fuck, why didn't I play Dante's Inferno?
I don't even think it's on PS now, is it? So we'll have to have gone out of our way a bit to put that
Heavy Rain.
I'm glad I played it more than Heavy Rain because we would not have had much to talk about gameplay-wise for Heavy Rain.
Do you wish we'd have picked Bioshock 2 now?
I don't, to be honest. Because you've not played this game. I was curious to see what your thoughts was on it.
Yeah, it's meh.
Plus, I always rejoice at the chance to talk about aliens and predators, so that's probably the only reason I picked it.
yeah, that's fine. That's fair enough. Yeah, I've played some I've not played before, so that's fine. I feel like we should have called this podcast the Backlog Podcast.
It does feel like
just going back through like, we've not played that one. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, unless it's something we really want to play again.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should have called it that.
It's better though to play a game that we've not played before. It's like getting your opinions brand new rather than stuff that. Because me with Aliens vs Predator, I've already played it. So
I've played more games last year through this podcast than I did the year before, just off like new releases, if you know what I mean.
I actually think just this month alone, including the 2 games we played this year, these like January, February, I think I've already completed like 5 games.
Really?
It's like, yeah, I've completed 5 games.
Shit.
Admittedly, Sayonara Wild Hearts was very short.
Yeah, it doesn't count if they're like 2 hours long.
It does count.
Of course it counts.
I don't have 2 hours to myself these much these days.
I know. I get it. So yeah, that's it really. Are we done?
What's your overall opinion?
Meh.
Very average. If you had to, we didn't talk about reviews, did we? About this game, it was all very. I remember it was all very 6, 7s, 5s. Yeah, but very average. Yeah, but it sold well. It was on the top UK charts, like number 1 for about I think 2 weeks. Which
it doesn't say much though, does it? I mean, it's an established franchise.
Yeah. Again, if this was
it's
like a brand,
Pokemon selling well, but
I know, but it's Pokemon. Yeah,
bag of shit.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a bag of shit.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Play if you want to play it just for the Predator and the Alien players, like gameplay. If you want to play just as a Marine, you can literally fucking play any other FPS, and it would be better.
I wouldn't bother.
Honestly, if you want to know the story, play it, but it's not worth it.
If you want to know story, there's plenty of YouTube videos that you'll probably watch in like 30 minutes and you're done.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's all.
If you're going to play any campaigns, just do the Alien and the Predator.
Just go and play Bioshock 2 instead.
But yeah, thinking about it, gameplay wise, there's not much that compares to it, like in terms of like the Alien and the Predator, like similar-ish. Like you can say,
No, not really. No, and it's a shame that they can't just do a good version of it.
I'm trying to think. I remember something like first-person wall crawling. I can't remember what game it was now. I'm thinking it was like it's not Left 4 Dead, is it? Like when you're playing as like a hunter, you can't go on walls. I remember you can kick off walls, but you can't climb on them, can you?
I can't think of anything. I can't think of a thing.
No. But yeah, it is unique in that aspect, but that's pretty much it. The multiplayer's barely kicking, so I don't know. It is what it is.
That's it then.
It
so
is average. Are
we done?
I believe so.
So that's it for this month. Next month, March.
Thank you all.
I've not even looked at March yet.
I've not. So I'm always quite excited to see what games we've got for next month. It's always a bit like, ooh.
I'll tell you what.
Go on.
If anyone's still listening at this point,
kudos to you, by the way.
Yeah, go and look at 2010. That's on Wikipedia. March. If you see something you want us to play, tell us.
Please tell us. Yeah.
Tell us like soon.
Yeah.
Or else we'll just pick one so we can get on with it. But just see if we get anything back.
Yeah.
No one's listening at this point.
Yeah. It's like we're talking to ourselves at this point.
But anyway, that's it.
Thank you all for
some listener fucking like interaction. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Come on,
Bants. Yeah, that's it. As always, thank you for listening. Your comments and
whack off.
What comments?
Your silence is deafening.
Your silence keeps us going.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, if you have any opinions, by all means, as we keep saying, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter or email us. Let us know what you thought.
No, just Twitter.
Leave us a review. Review on iTunes or Spotify or Podbean, anything like that. Fucking love Podbean.
Right, anyway, see you next month.
Thanks for listening. See you all next time. Bye.
Ciao.